Okay, I'm back. Let's get my ears on.
Let me check.
Oh, I found the user's manual for my plug-in headphones. They're called Adorer. That's the name brand. Woot! And they're just so funny to read the instructions. It's the best version of Chinglish I've seen yet.
Yeah, some of those Chinese translations are interesting to say the least.
Yeah, one of the headlines is you're supposed to taste your earphones. I'm going to do a scan on them and post it somewhere. And there's Tony Watts.
Hello.
I told you he had time yet. He's got a whole 3 minutes.
3 minutes early. Wow. He even beat Leo. Leo beat him. Well, Leo's stream beat him. Leo's not here yet.
Yeah, technically Leo's not here yet.
Oh my god, I am having a super bizarre audio issue. Okay.
What's that?
Doesn't sound bad here.
You guys sound chipmunky.
Chipmunky.
You sound like you're working without a pop filter.
That is
Christmas time is here.
You sound kind of muffled too. I don't know what's going on. Your audio is usually really good.
Yep, I'm using a new audio face with this computer for the first time, and I'm bailing on it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will go get another cup of coffee. Be right back.
Have one for me.
All right, my mouth is back. My ears are coming. Ears. Nice little ears. Okay, right ear, left ear. We are here. I'm still working. Yep.
You said left ear, and suddenly I'm thinking about watching The Italian Job.
I haven't seen it, so I don't get the reference.
Really?
Yeah, really.
It's a good movie. You should check it out.
Okay, well, someone's back. Hello. Are we still chipmunks?
Oh no, Tony's not back yet.
Oh, that's Leo.
Yep.
Chipmunks.
Yeah, Tony was trying some new audio equipment, and he said that Joe and I were sounding like chipmunks.
Oh, okay.
And so he left to go detach it.
How funny. How do I sound? Sound okay?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. That'll work.
Pretty good. Okay, close Dresden files, get back to show notes. I'm guessing Tony's not going to be here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete his section. Tony Hughes.
Man, and I got to test it again. And into that issue last time.
Yeah,
with,
your audio is
pitch
all
shift.
over the place, man.
Mine is?
Yeah.
Ooh, what do you mean? What does that mean?
There's some electronic backend on it that is there, and then you also sound a lot deeper than normal.
Oh, it did break. Okay, let me fix that.
Yeah, you do sound deeper. I don't hear the electronic thing, but yeah, we have to have our young chipper Leo. I'm the old guy here.
Yeah, I haven't watched the original. I know I need to, with Michael Caine. I just haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, I do want to watch the original one, but the remake, I thought it was good. It's one of my wife's favorite movies, too.
Okay, you're back to talking about the Italian Job?
Yeah, Londoner was mentioning it.
Oh, okay.
In Telegram.
I did not even open Hex Chat.
Yeah, I need to open the Mibit.
How's this?
That sounds like Leo.
Yeah, speak a little bit more.
Speak a little bit more. Did it work? Did I break it worse?
No, you made it good. You made it good.
All right. Okay. How about now?
Okay.
Okay, good. No, every time I make a change that has anything to do with audio, I have to make sure because this God, Moss, you just punching your keyboard, man.
I am really not.
I swear, he's got a checkmate keyboard.
Wow.
He just bangs it so hard it sounds like a mechanical keyboard.
I'm really not. I think when I turned up my microphone that you're hearing that more.
You gotta go to the YouTube stream later on and see what and hear what we're hearing. It's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'm going to mute the mic so I can type the stuff about Livestream. Do you have a link for me for Livestream?
Yeah, sir. It's in the chat, in the mumble chat.
All right, let me go.
Yeah, so this is the return of that issue, and
I do not see a link in the mumble chat.
Scroll up.
There, YouTube.
Yeah. Or
yeah, I tested it. It works fine.
Yeah, or go to mintcast.org/livestream.
Londoner mentioned it sounds, or Dale Miracle mentioned it sounds good, and Londoner is commenting on the things that we're saying, and he said the stream is coming through loud and clear.
Good.
Hey guys.
Hey, do we sound like
you sound better.
No, not anymore. Boy, that was a terrible disaster. But I'm back.
How's my audio today?
Sounds good.
Your audio is good.
Awesome.
Did you change something?
No.
Just checking.
But I do have those random things that come up where it suddenly decides to use my other microphone.
Yeah.
Okay, I've changed the topic in the Hex Chat room.
Oh, good Lord, my dog farted.
Oh, yeah.
Hard. Oh.
Juicy.
Actually, I should say our show, not our next show.
You gotta go outside, dummies. You wanna go outside? They're like, no, I'm napping. Go away.
Okay. Hex Chat is up and running for me, and headings, and let's... Whenever, guys.
See, Tony's not here. That's why
I'm gonna have to do it. Oh, dude, it was the dog. It was definitely the dog. The kids are upstairs. If it was my own, I wouldn't have commented on it.
Are we ready to do the noise reduction? 20 seconds?
Hang on. I was doing some recording to test my stuff. Let me kill all that.
Oh, it's lingering too.
Linger.
Did he have to let it linger?
Did you have to let it linger?
Oh, I hit something. I gotta undo that.
You know, one of these days I'm going to be ready. I promise.
Sure.
Promises, promises.
Okay, I'm back to ready for the 20 seconds of silence countdown.
Did you want to set us up for it, Moss, or do you want me to do it?
I'd like to do it, yeah.
All right, go for it.
Well, when Leo says he's ready.
Never. Okay, I
when
guess.
Leo says he's ready. Okay.
Okay, I guess.
All right.
Make it
3,
happen,
2, 1.
Captain.
3, 2, 1. Silence. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a little tiny bit of background noise in there.
Yeah, hang on for me as well. I gotta turn something off real quick, and I'll throw in another 10 seconds of silence in there.
Okay.
Do we just want to start over? I'll delete what I got here.
I didn't.
Okay. Starting over. Edit, undo. Oh, I don't have an undo yet.
Control A and delete.
Control A did not do anything.
Well, you got to click on where the wave file is.
Select the nope, that doesn't do it. I can just and nothing is working right now.
Control A and delete worked for me.
Well, it's not working for me, Joe.
I usually just go file close and just it gives you a whole new board, whatever you call that.
Undo record worked. Okay.
Cool.
I'm ready to go. You ready, Leo?
Ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, my gain very definitely is picking up more background noise.
Ooh. So did you end up turning it down or up?
Yes.
Oh, what?
My mic went up, my computer went down.
Yeah, okay. You might want to flip those around. That might help.
Well, I had it at 0 and nobody. I had my mic gain at 0 and nobody complained before.
I just noticed it, and since I wasn't talking or anything, it reminded me. That's all. It sounds fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's dialed in pretty good right now.
All right, we'll have some noise to filter out is all.
Yeah, it's fine. No big deal.
Okay, we ready for the 3, 2, 1, 0?
Almost. Wait. Okay,
yeah, and just real quick, I sound fine, right?
You sound fine.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready then.
3, 2, 1, 0.
0.
Close enough.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay. I'm in a whole new setup. I'm in got almost all new hardware except for the laptop. We'll see how good this show goes. All right. Any last minute changes? We all good?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Welcome to mintCast episode 334. Welcome to mintCast episode 334.5. Livestream information is at mintcast.org/livestream. We're in the mintcast channel in IRC at irc.spotchat.org. If you see something that you'd like to hear about, Tell us. Send us email at mintcast@mintcast.org. Join us live on YouTube. Post at the Mintcast subreddit. Chat with us on Telegram, Discord, or post directly at mintcast.org. This is Leo, and with me today is Moss.
Glad to be here, getting better.
Good, good. Tony Watts.
Hey, everybody.
And Joe.
Hello again.
We're recording on Sunday the 3rd of May, 2020. First up in our wanderings, I dive into both Ubuntu and Fedora. Moss hops around as usual. Tony Watts tinkers with new audio gear, and Joe recommends devices to family. Then in the news, we'll hit the Linux Mint monthly news and releases. Ubuntu, Fedora, Manjaro, and more, increment by one. In security, GitLab pays $20,000. In our innards section, we talk about the versions of Ubuntu 2004 that we're playing with. And finally, our listener feedback and a couple suggestions. So this fortnight, I mentioned it at the top of the show, I've been playing a lot with Fedora. Way more than I think I have given credence to on the show. So I've been on Fedora 31 for probably about 2 months, a good 2 months now. And in one of our pre-show chats that we have here at the mintCast, I was mentioning that to Moss and Tony Hughes, and got roped into doing this Distro Hoppers Digest thing, right? So if you want the full review of Fedora 31 / the upgrade to 32 and then a review of 32, check it out. That'll be coming out, what is that, Moss? We'll be recording it next week.
Coming soon to a podcaster near you.
All right, so no later than a couple of weeks, I would imagine, so keep your eyes peeled for that one.
We're recording on the 10th, and it should be out the Tuesday following, the way Tony Hughes usually works.
Woohoo! All right. So, yeah, if you don't get enough of me, which I'm sure that you do, you can check me out over there. But, I don't know. I think I just really wanted to see how the other half lived, right? I mean, and saying other half is probably wrong as well, because you've got the Arch and Manjaro guys and everybody else that is not on a Debian or Red Hat derivative. But I feel like there's a big, stark divide between those two groups. So, yeah, I wanted to see how it worked. And we'll talk about I'll talk about my experience in GNOME later on in the innards, but in GNOME, in Fedora 31 and Fedora 32, I don't know. I don't like GNOME. I mean, just to preface it all with that, I don't really like GNOME in the first place, but Fedora's implementation is pretty good. I've kind of gotten used to, slamming the mouse over the top left-hand corner to get the applications to splay out. I don't know what that's called, but when you see all the applications and you can choose the one that you want. I've gotten used to some of the motions that Fedora implements. It's like I said, it's really good. I did some gaming on it, so I think that's going to be the big meat of where the Distro Hoppers episode is going to come. But I did a lot of gaming on it. I played. Let's see. I don't even have the list in front of me, but it's going to be a long one. It's like World of Warcraft. I played Path of Exile, Dawn of War 3. Oh man, see, now I should have had the list in front of me. OpenRA, which that works in anywhere on any graphics card. Let me see. Cities Skylines. That was just a bunch. It was a good half dozen or more video games that I was playing on this machine. And the small gist of it was Fedora 31 was pretty good, but Fedora 32 had Mesa 20 and Mesa 20 was the big thing. Had Mesa 20, and the performance on my video card just skyrocketed after Mesa 20. So after the upgrade to Fedora 32, everything just it felt like everything was fresh and new and everything was great. So I mean, that's where I spent about half of my time. The other half has been dealing with the Ubuntu stuff, the new Ubuntu things. And currently I'm on Kubuntu 2004. So that's the other bit that I've been dealing with. So a lot of Fedora on my desktop, a lot of Kubuntu on my laptop, but Ubuntu as well. I did do Ubuntu proper during the beta. So probably about 2 weeks before release, up until about release. And I'll talk about those, all the good and the bad in the innards. But overall, it was good. But I think it may say something that I'm not on Ubuntu proper right now. So that will be revealed in time. So that's pretty much it. Outside of picking up a few new applications, Bashtop being one, but there'll be a link in the check this out for that one. I really, really like Bashtop. It's pretty cool. But other than that, that's pretty much been it. So, Moss, what have you been up to?
Well, I installed Kubuntu on the partition which had held KDE Neon. I had intended to install it on the partition containing Ubuntu Studio 2004 beta, but I missed. No great loss, as they're different sides of the same coin, Neon and Kubuntu. But that meant I still had to find something to replace Studio with. I asked the opinions of the Distro Hoppers Digest group and came up with Fedora, but then could not work my way successfully through the installer. After much thought, I went back to Sabayon. This time I did everything the right way, following the first time wiki, using a USB 2 stick and installing to a bare metal spinning drive. I began at 2252 and completed the job at 0115 with no need to update my bootloader. That's 2 hours and 23 minutes. That sure beats the 4+ hours it took the first time when I did not do things like scan for better mirrors, as told to in the wiki. I really do like Sabayon. It's a fun little distro, and there are a lot of cute little features. I've talked about that in the past. I've been having chats with listener Kevin in Ghana, who is working on his own derivative of Slackware called Allegiant OS. He is now on his 100th revision, not easy to do with a young wife and a new baby girl. Tony Hughes and I are getting ready for episode 13 of Distro Hoppers Digest with special guest Leo Chavez. We will be recording on May 10th. Tony is reviewing Q4 OS, an updated version. From what I reviewed earlier, I'll be doing Ubuntu Mate 2004, and Leo is looking at Fedora. He will probably even talk about gaming on Linux, something Tony and I just don't do. Last night, in Ubuntu Mate, I got a wild hair and I went into my terminal and typed sudo apt install Stacer. It installed. So Stacer is now in the Ubuntu repos. This morning on my Kudu, Mulvad was not creating a tunnel, so all my feeds are blocked. This may be a feature of Ubuntu Mate 2004, but I've been using it for weeks now with no issues. I dropped a support note to Sandy at Mulvad. It also could be a temporary issue with Comcast. Furthermore, when I booted my Galago Pro to do the show, it worked fine, but the Galago Pro is connected via Ethernet, so it might have been a timing thing, and it just might have been Wi-Fi versus Ethernet. I'll hear back from them sometime soon, I expect. I'm still reading Summer Night, Book 4 of the Dresden Files. Watched 4 episodes of the 2007 TV show. We're still scratching our heads over why they didn't actually use any material from the books. Like, Jim Butcher is making all this money on the books. Certainly nothing he's written is worth moving over to the TV side. Also kind of cute that they have some good lines in the book, but they get lost. It's like the director didn't have any pauses or timing things to make you notice that there were good lines. They just zip to the next thing before it lands with anybody. Really bad ideas in the direction and production of that series. There are rumors of a new one, but the last time those rumors arose were October 2018. Apparently Fox was working on it at that time. I continue to heal from the car accident and look forward to finding employment, a hard thing to do in the days of COVID-19. I'm finally getting the use of my right shoulder back. It's about 70% today with some catches and pops. There's been more real life than computer life this fortnight, although I have of course kept all my distros updated and gotten ready for the next Distro Hoppers Digest. But for now, that's all I have. That's a short one from me. How about you, Tony Watts? What are you up to?
A few technical things. It's always a good idea to try a brand new audio configuration right before the show. Highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Seconded.
It's the only way to go, man. Only way to go. Well, I did get...
That's like updating your distro right before the show.
Here, let me see. What is that? Yeah. Sudo apt upgrade. Okay.
Hey, you can talk about it while you're on the show until you can't.
Exactly.
But I did get a new audio interface, and I'm pretty happy with it. But I played around with it on everything but my podcasting computer, and just decided I would plug it into the podcasting computer right before the show, and everything was going to be fine because it worked on other systems. So why would this one be any different? Guess what? It was different. Oh well. But I got a PreSonus 24C audio interface, and I've played around with it even on the Dell 7130 tablet, and it worked great. I was talking to you guys yesterday on that for a little while. No problems there. But when I put it into this desktop that I normally use for podcasting, I got on Mumble, and Moss and Joe sounded chipmunky. I don't know what the deal was with that.
I started singing the Christmas song to check it out.
Yeah. Very convincing, by the way. Yeah, so the other thing is I've been playing around with this condenser mic. It's a large diaphragm condenser mic. It's a MKL V57M, which is a pretty old model. But again, in my testing on other systems, it was fine. But when I had to bail from this audio interface because of the one issue, I used that same mic in the old audio interface, and it was just very noisy, which is what I remember. So I ended up right before the show going back to my old audio interface and the old dynamic microphone I was using to just kind of get back to a known quantity so we could do this. But I'll keep playing with it. Other thing I did today, sadly, I did not take Joe's advice quick enough. He had suggested when we were talking RetroPie stuff, making a backup of the SD cards, because SD cards are a little more prone to corruption than other storage. And sure enough, it was corrupted and caused a problem loading the MAME ROMs. And the easiest thing for me to do is just start over. I just went ahead and created another one, and I did make a backup of it promptly when I was done with it. But yes.
Did you replace the SD card?
No, because this is a fairly new SD card.
Okay.
What I do want to do is move to loading the games from a USB flash drive. That'll probably be phase 2. But I think the SD card is okay. It's pretty new.
Yeah, well, RetroPie does some interesting things when it comes to using an external card. So you might have to go through the process of just using the micro SD as your bootloader, and then putting the entire operating system on either USB 3.0, which is slow, or an SSD in a USB adapter.
Oh, right on. Okay. I'm fine with just using an SSD. It's just, I guess, if it gets corrupted, I need to be prepared to replace and or restore. One thing that was kind of interesting, I created the image with Etcher, and it kind of threw me for a minute. I was starting to transfer ROMs, and there wasn't enough space. And sure enough, the partition had almost no free space. I had to use Gparted to manually resize it. I thought that was a little odd. I didn't remember having to do that last time.
Yeah, you probably didn't. I think it usually does it itself. You could have also used raspiconfig, but you got to drop down to the command line to be able to do it.
Oh, you know what? This is very much a case of RTFM. Now that we're talking about it, if you read the instructions, it kind of tells you what to do about that. You're supposed to boot it in the Pi one time, and then it does automatically resize it. I did not go by any instructions this time. I was just having at it. Okay, so that's probably about all on RetroPie. I got my arcade cabinet up and running again, and everything's good, and I have a backup to go back to in case that ever happens again, which experience tells me it will.
Gotta have the backups.
Yeah, backup. I may have heard that here before, possibly. I fixed a laptop for a friend. A friend had an old laptop that she said wouldn't boot, and when it had worked before, it was slow. And it's a 2013 Asus laptop, and I ended up just upgrading it to an SSD, putting a clean Windows install on it. It's an old machine. It has an old, I don't know what generation, i3, whatever gen that would have been around that time, and 6 gigs of RAM. It's not great, but once I moved it from the spinning disk to SSD, it really moved pretty fast. It was acceptable. One of the things I noticed when I pulled the old hard drive out, not only was it a spinning, but it was a 54,000 RPM drive. And I keep running into that. It's even for a spinning, it's slow. So much
5400, please.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. I will not claim to speak with a whole ton of expertise here. Sorry about that. But yeah, got that back to her, and she's pretty happy with it. I think those are the technical things I've been up to. What about you, Joe?
Well, it's actually been a busy couple of weeks trying to stave off the boredom. So I did finish the Nate Temple series. It's pretty good. I do recommend it. Decent length books, plenty of books in the series. But I didn't realize that there is a second series that kept getting referenced, and had to keep asking myself if I had missed something in the previous books, which I had. So now I'm listening to the companion series, Feathers and Fire. Found out there's also a second companion series called Phantom Queen Diaries that I will eventually read, but I'm going to take a break, probably partway through the Feathers and Fire series, to listen to some of the other books that I have that have come out. My 3D printer has broken down a couple of times and been resurrected. Hopefully after replacing the heating element for a second time, it will stick around for a while. But I did order 5 of the heating elements, so if it happens again, I will have a quick replacement. It's not a difficult fix. 1 screw and solder 2 wires. Put it back together, run a PID tune so the machine is tuned for the new heater, and it did work good. Pro tip, do not set the temp before running the tune. It needs to be cooler than the target temperature, or you will get variances. Because, when I first put it in, I wanted to make sure that it was working correctly, so I did a 10-minute test on my own at a high temperature just to make sure that it was working. And then the replacing of I ended up replacing that heating element twice. So there was some damage to the thermal shielding, but I'll get to that in a minute. I was able to get a set of 10 broken Skullcandy crushers for a good price. I was able to get 4 of them working and looking like new, and have put them on the Facebook Marketplace for sale. Haven't seen any movement yet. I'm probably going to switch over to eBay for that. And I don't know if anybody wants one. I'll either post the eBay link or let you guys email me because I will sell them to you for less than I'll put them on the eBay for. 4 of the other ones I was able to print 3D print new hinges for, and while they do look different and less refined, they work great, and from what others have said, it should be fairly sturdy. I did have some issues on some of the hinges where they printed and the layering didn't quite get right in some of the early ones, so I had to reprint them, but it still came out well. I may sell 3 of those and just keep 1 of them for myself, but I'll sell those at a lower price, since the printed hinges don't look as refined. They do sound really good, though, but they were not comfortable for me because of how they sit on my ears, and a lot of clamping force right on the ears. So I printed some headphone ear cup adapters for another set of headphones, the XB700s, and so then I also printed 1 set of adapters for the Skullcandy crushers. The adapter for the XB700 is awesome. Changes the size of the ear cup from 3 inches to 4, and I barely notice that I'm wearing them all day for work. Still, I might do some tweaks to the crusher adapter, and I'm hoping for similar results, but so far it has come out good. It has slightly higher clamping force than the XB700s, but it's still a vast improvement with the adapter that I have now. The XB700 was fairly easy to do because it was a perfectly round cup. The crushers are more kind of egg-shaped, so I'm trying out a couple of things. Also designed and printed some adapters for the coasters on my side table. My side table has a large groove in the wood, And if you didn't get the coasters sat on there just right, it would tip your glass over. So I made some inserts that exactly fit the grooves and then glued the coasters onto them. So now my water glass is safe. I also have plans for the last 2 Skullcandy crushers involving some of the Sony TV headsets that have the same size ear hooks and a large number of wires going across. So I will move them over and see if they work. This will also free up some drivers that would be the correct size of the Monoprice DJ headsets that Dustin sent me, and I should be able to do a swap and see how it sounds. Need to still find or order some of the small parts. The buttons for the Skullcandy crushers, I lost them. My own fault. I did find one of the sets that was broken, and I'm still looking for the other one, or a printable version of the buttons, but I'm not finding that anywhere. I think I'm going to try and design my own, but it has some interesting angles in it, so I'll have to try out a couple things. Yeah, it might be in my chair cushion, but yeah. Also, on my 3D printer, because of the damage to the cotton insulation from replacing the heating element, I ordered some silicone socks. I was having a problem with my printing where it was extruding, but it was getting stuck on the hot end. So hopefully the silicone sock will help with that. And they showed up today, and I should have them replaced by this evening and then re-leveled, and then I'll try out test print. Both my cousin and my uncle contacted me over the last 2 weeks for computer suggestions. My cousin made it easy with a set budget and requirements, so I found him a really good MSI gaming laptop on eBay, and he just went for it and bought it right away. My uncle was a bit more obstreperous. He had his heart set on a server for a while that he had found locally with a bunch of SAS drives that he wanted to use as a desktop. And, I explained that it could be done, but it would not be as simple as the plug and play most people are used to. I think in the end, he just wanted to make sure he got to pick the machine. He was the one to pick it, not me. So, I'll leave him to it. I attempted to replace the power port on a Transformer T100 TA tablet. It was one of the ones that my daughter had used, and I think there's 3 of them that she's ruined the power port on. I failed miserably at replacing that power port. I could not get the new post to go through. I did get the old one off easy enough, but just couldn't get the new one on. And I spent a good couple of hours on it, but I kind of had the shakes a little bit by the end of it. But I'll try again eventually. I'm going to have to figure out what I was doing wrong there, though. So I ended the evening on a win. I repaired a cheap pair of ear pollution headphones by replacing the band with one of the Skullcandy Hesh 3 bands that I had sitting around from previous repairs, and a pair of 3D printed ear hooks that I had to heat and reshape a bit. It did come out well. I had to kind of narrow the hook so that it fit in there neatly, and it's not my best work, but I did learn that you need to extend the arms all the way before doing the job so that you don't have issues when everything is put back together. It kind of pulled out a little bit when I extended the ears to actually fit it on my head. And it does sound good, and I'm waiting for some new ear cushions to show up before I can give it a really full test. And then listener Fuzzy P sent me a robot to work on. I did receive it yesterday, and for some reason it is only trying to perform the first command given to it, but it's not doing it completely. It's like it starts doing the command and then just stops. So I'm going to take it apart, clean it up, and put it back together and see if that helps, and then really break down the troubleshooting. I'm going to make sure that all the connections are solid and make sure that the battery is actually charged the way it says it is, and see if some deoxit will help on some of the connections. And that's really all I got. Leo, what's in the news?
Have you tried taking it apart and putting it back together again?
That is what I am going to do.
Cool. News. Yeah, news. Let's do that. Let's do that. So this fortnight in the news, we got a new Linux Mint monthly news, and this one's actually chock full of stuff. So we got our confirmation that it's going to be 64-bit only, as is the Ubuntu counterpart. So I mean, this is not necessarily something that the Linux Mint guys did by themselves. It's just that's what Upstream is doing, and it's a whole lot less work to do that. But your normal cinnamon, mate, and XFCE flavors will still be available. And one thing that they put back was, so Ubuntu proper, when you install, I guess when you're creating your user account, there's usually a checkbox, or there used to be a checkbox that said, do you want to encrypt your home folder? That is gone now in the installers for Ubuntu, but it has been put back by the Linux Mint guys, just in case you want to encrypt your home folder. So that is still an option for those of us on Linux Mint. As well, X app status icon. So if you remember a couple of versions of Linux Mint ago, you were asked through the, what do you call that little thing? The little helper thing. It's like, hey, there's a warning. You should do this thing. That application reminded you to install the X status app icon. And that is just the way that Linux Mint handles all those little icons down by your clock. That is going to have a lot more of a consistent look and feel from now on.
Yeah, they had to fix that before actually working on LMDE4. That was what was holding up LMDE4. They had to get that fixed.
Awesome. So then it'll make its landing in Linux Mint 20. Sweet. That's good. As well, so we were talking, I guess it was probably 2 episodes ago, we were talking about this new application that the Mint guys were working on called Warpinator. And they put out a call. They said, hey, we need better names than Warpinator. And so they got some, right? They got Ethernator, they got Datanator, they got X-Files, Overcast, Capsule, and Drop Zone. So I read Capsule, and I was like, yep, that's the one. That's the one that I would love. If they chose Capsule, I would be happy. And you know what they chose? Warpinator. So, so all those names, and they decided Warpinator was going to come out on top. So in Linux Mint 19.3, you can install it. You can get a deb from the Linux Mint group, and you will have to install a PPA. The deal with that is that there are going to be some dependencies that are required for Warpinator to work that are not in the Ubuntu 18.04 repository. So you'll need to install a PPA. It's Clement's PPA under gRPC. And that will then, when you install the deb, it'll pull in all the repos or all the dependencies that you need. So if you want to try Warpinator early, this is how you'll do it. If you want to wait, or if you're feeling adventurous enough, you can try it in the alpha, or just wait for Linux Mint 20, which is supposed to be dropping sometime in June. So no hard date on that just yet, but June-ish. And the last
historically, the earliest it has dropped has been May 31st.
Yeah, so don't expect it in the next day or two. It's going to take a little while. It takes a little while to bake in the oven, and then it's served hot and ready to you. So the last little bit on this is color themes. They have been updated. We've talked about this before. The colors are brighter, and I think they're more eye-catching. The pink is pinker, the blue is bluer, the yellow is yellower. That's the idea. But the cool thing that's really going to come out in Linux Mint 20 is that if you install it from scratch, the colors will be presented to you right there on the welcome screen on first boot. So you can make your choice right there. You don't have to go tinker and find it later on. The other awesome thing that's going to show up in the welcome screen is there's going to be a light or dark toggle for that. So that means you choose your color and you choose your light or dark theme right there. First thing that you see, make it your own. So I think that's a really nice touch that they've added. So that's it for the monthly news, but also the alpha is released. I mentioned that a second ago, and that is still true. So we have a link here in the show notes for you if you want to go give that a shot. If you just want to live on the bleeding edge for a little while and see how Linux Mint 20 is shaping up, this is how you're going to do it. So take a look at that link and give it a go if you are adventurous enough.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for an alpha.
Yeah, it was enough for me to be on the Ubuntu betas. But speaking of Ubuntu, Ubuntu 20.04 was released since we were here last, and that goes for all of the flavors, and it's going to be our main topic, so we'll save a lot of this for that section. But yeah, so if you're an Ubuntu fan, or a Kubuntu fan, or a Xubuntu fan, or a Lubuntu fan, or a, oh man, the list goes on, right? All of those fan, then go give it a shot. It is quite nice. And in the meantime, they've been naming things. So Ubuntu 2010 got its name released, and it's going to be Groovy Gorilla. I love it. This has got to be one of my favorite names of all time. I'm excited for this one. I don't know what's going to come out in the release. I don't know what the software is. None of that matters. The name, Groovy Gorilla. I just want to be able to say that I'm running on Groovy Gorilla.
Groovy, baby.
Yeah, I think we need to bring the word groovy back. This is our opportunity right here.
Do running groovy.
So staying on this release idea, Fedora 32 as well, with about a week setback. They were supposed to release, it was something like April 21st or 22nd or something like that. Some things had to be fixed in the meantime, so they pushed that release date back to April 28th. And that is right about the time that I started getting ready to upgrade my Fedora. But I finally got it done yesterday. Yesterday I took the plunge and did all that. So Fedora 32, if you live on the Red Hat side, go jump on that. The upgrade is super easy. It just comes up in the software updater. Speaking of the software updater, the Ubuntu software updater does not show up yet, and that is by design. You're not supposed to be getting the easy button just yet. That comes a little bit later once some more testing has come out on that version. So if you're waiting, keep waiting. Otherwise, you can do a manual upgrade. Fedora 32 as well. I did the manual upgrade just because, I don't know, I like to see text fly by, and I didn't see it in the Software Center anyway, and I was in a hurry, and I was like, let's get this done. So I've got, I'll add it to the show notes how I did that upgrade and everything. Staying with Fedora, though, Lenovo laptops with Fedora coming soon. I think this is fantastic. More options for everybody. I think, as a matter of fact, this is going to be the configuration. I can't remember where I heard him. It may have been one on one of the Jupiter shows, but this laptop, the SKUs that they are using, that they're going to be selling to you, I think, if I heard right, are going to be the same ones that Red Hat buy in bulk. So this is real. This is really real. So yeah, if you want a good machine that's going to run on the latest and greatest types of software that Fedora ships, which is, they stay pretty current. I think their kernel's on 5.6, 5.7 is coming down the pipe. You're looking at pretty up-to-date software, not bleeding edge. We're not Manjaro. I think Manjaro is a little quicker on the trigger, and Arch is obviously quicker on the trigger with all of that. But yeah, Fedora is nestled right in a good spot where it's just old enough to be stable and just new enough that you get all the cool features.
So we've got Fedora on Lenovo. We've got Ubuntu on Dell. We've got Kubuntu and Manjaro on Tuxedo. And Pop! OS on System 76.
Look, I can't remember who said it in the mintCast Telegram, but they said that our prediction is going to come true. We're going to see one of these, whether it's Lenovo or Dell or even Tuxedo or somebody else. Someone is going to put one of these laptops on a shelf somewhere in a store, and that is going to make us both right. And I can't wait. I can't wait. We still have like 7 months to figure this out.
Oh, and I didn't mention the Mint box.
And the Mint box. Yes, that's right.
So on these Lenovos, is this going to be a similar thing to the Dell Sputnik, where you can order the developer edition through Dell online and get it that way, or how do you get these things?
Yep, that's pretty much it. I wanted to say that when I was going through the purchasing for Lenovo, because there was a similar announcement for Ubuntu, right? Lenovo will actually ship you Ubuntu too. I went through and it was just in the dropdown of the operating systems to be used. So if this is going to be anything like that, then you find yourself a laptop that is compatible, that they mark as one of the Linux ones. Just bring it down in the drop-down menu and choose Fedora, and it'll come with Fedora.
That's awesome.
Yes, I'm excited for it.
So it doesn't change the configuration any if you switch from Windows to Fedora?
It did not when I did that with Ubuntu. I don't know that the Fedora options are available on the website yet, but if they are, I don't imagine it would.
The configuration might not change, but the price might. On the Dells, if you choose Ubuntu instead of Windows, the price drops just a bit. Not a lot, like 100 or 80 or something like that.
Yeah, gotta account for that Windows tax. All right. Again, with the releases, and we talked about it a second ago, Manjaro 20 is also released. This one had a code name. What was its code name? I don't think Fedora had a code name, did they? Lycia. What a cool code name. So, yeah, Manjaro 20. I don't actually know what that means. Because Manjaro stays pretty up to date, don't they? I mean, an upgrade for Manjaro is more just a bump of a number, isn't it?
They push Manjaro as a rolling release, yeah.
So it might just be what is coming on the installer and the software that comes shipped on the disk. That might be really what's going on there. And, this really just kind of shows that we don't pay attention to Manjaro that much. Yeah, it looks like they're shipping Plasma 5.18, the latest KDE apps. The GNOME edition is going to be 3.36. So they're right about where, and this is on April 26th, so those things may have incremented by then, by now. But it looks like, yeah, they're right about where Fedora is. So, very cool. Here we go. So PacMac 9.4 received a few updates, and that's the package management stuff. And now they've also enabled Snap and Flatpak support by default. Oh, so here's where some of those changes are coming in. Those Snap and Flatpak support. How cool. All right. And again, another release, Pop! OS 2004. So a few days after Ubuntu 2004 release, Pop! OS came out. Yeah. So does anybody actually use Pop! OS here?
Nope.
I know I was talking to Rocco yesterday on Biddle, and I know he uses Pop! OS. So I kind of want to get I want to take his temperature on what's going on here. One of the things that is one of their flagship features is that they have auto tiling. So this is in GNOME. This is going to be the features of a tiling window manager baked right in. So basically just keyboard commands to move your things from here to there. And, like when you have 7 different windows, you want the window manager to resize those automatically and make it look right so that you can do all of these things at the same time on one screen. And, obviously you can have more than one window going or more than one desktop going, but that's kind of the idea. Very cool. Anyway, and then last release we have on the list is Parrot 4.9 is released. So this is one of those security ones. If you are interested in doing a little hacking here and there, obviously that would only be on your own equipment, right? Right? Stuff that you own. Parrot 4.9 released. And that one is one that is more in name only, right? They just roll a new ISO and they just give you the latest packages. And this is mostly so that you don't have to be on the internet to get the latest and greatest. You just go grab the new ISO, which does require you to be on the internet. But when you're running Parrot 4.9 or whatever version you're running, that will have later software or the latest software as of the spin of that ISO. So they do that quite often, and then they have major changes that'll bump that up to Parrot 5. One of these days. That seems like it for the news. It was all releases this go around.
All Leo, all the time.
That's it. That's it. All right, next up, security update. So in the security update, we had GitLab had a critical flaw. And when it got fixed, the bounty hunter got $20,000. $20,000 for being a bug hunter. How awesome is that? So the flaw was initially reported back on March 23rd to GitLab, and it was subsequently patched in GitLab version 12.9.1. So if you're running your own GitLab or you're on somebody else's GitLab, go check on that version. Make sure it's 12.9.1 because this flaw is worth $20,000. Check it out. This flaw was a path traversal flaw that was allowed by a function called uploads rewriter. So what this means is this type of flaw would allow an attacker to gain access to files they may not have been able to otherwise see. This includes things like security keys, sensitive files, things that you may have hidden away. There didn't seem to be any restriction on what could be seen or copied when moving things to a new project. So it looks like the function just did not check security when you were copying over to a new project. So $20,000 goes to William Bowling for finding this. Congratulations to him. And for everybody else, oh, go ahead.
It just seems like a really quick turnaround to pay out. So
yeah,
kudos to GitLab.
Absolutely. Yeah, it says a lot about, I mean, I think open source projects in general, but it says a lot about a project that, yeah, it takes, a month, less than a month to turn around and fix something this bad and then dish out a whole chunk of change to the person that found it in the first place. That's just good. That's just being a good netizen, right? So if you checked your GitLab and you're not on 12.9.1, yeah, go bug somebody. We need to get updated. That one is a pretty egregious one.
Skynet appreciates you.
Exactly, right? All right. Well, there's your quick 5-minute security update. That'll do it for that. And now we finally get to the meat of the show. Let's move on down to the Linux innards. So in this innards section, let's talk about Ubuntu 2004. We've got an article linked by OMG Ubuntu that kind of has a rundown on all of the different flavors if you have not decided which one to use. But as of right now, let's talk about Ubuntu GNOME, Ubuntu proper. I think in a bit of last night, Martin Wimpress said something to the effect of more than 85% of all installs are this one. So if you're in the minority using anything else, you really are in the minority. So who's running Ubuntu GNOME?
I am. Well,
And?
sort of.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I had installed just, the stock flavor of Ubuntu 2004 on my 7140 tablet, and yes, it did have GNOME. Had some small problems with GNOME, and the touchpad, the left and right click, did not work at all. But it did work with an external mouse. So I installed Cinnamon and Mate, and my touchpad worked fine in both, so I don't know what the issue was with GNOME. Rotation worked right out of the box without a hitch. I didn't test that on Mate, but I'm going to use Mate for remote access with X2Go. I haven't really set up my normal scripting for file movements and SSHFS yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't work just fine. I noticed that there's a bunch of games pre-installed, very Windows XP style, and they all look pretty good and pretty standard, so I'll probably be giving them a try. A couple of settings with the touchpad, even on the other alternate desktops, didn't work until after reboot. Like the touchpad speed, I upped the speed, but then I didn't notice any change. until after a reboot. Same thing with touchpad scrolling. And then one of the times I rebooted and got everything up and running again, the settings were the exact same, but neither the speed nor the scrolling was adjusted. So, yeah, and touchpad acceleration to start off with was extremely slow, but boot times are really fast and smooth. Although I think there is a device-related problem with reboot, but that's probably because it's a 7140. Like I said, it looks beautiful. It runs real smooth. I still haven't installed Uku and upgraded to the most recent kernel. 5.4 seems to be doing really, really well. I also checked out Snap, which is built in. Works great. I installed the Snap for standard notes and I installed the Snap for Mumble, and I was able to use auto completion for both with no issues, and they were immediately available in the start menu, which I guess used to be one of the issues with Snap. You'd install a Snap and it wouldn't show up in your start menu. It looks great, like I said. I'm loving it on the 7140. It's probably going to stay there somewhat long term until, you know, I want to test out the next one.
That's really impressive that it runs so well for you on the 7140. That's a low-powered machine, and the couple of times I've tried the previous GNOME Ubuntu releases on old machines, it seemed resource intensive, and it wasn't a real good experience. So I'm glad to hear that was not your experience on the 7140.
Well, the 7140 and the 7130 that I have both have 8 gigabytes of RAM. So
that helps.
Yeah, that does help a lot. But I haven't had any problems with installs on the 7130, but I mostly stick with Mint on that. But the 7140, on the other hand, I've had a lot of problems with various installations having small issues, but not here. Like really tiny issues here, nothing insurmountable. Not like with Q4 OS, which was really horrible on the 7140. So I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, cool.
Got some performance concerns on that as well. So, I mean, I guess my real question is going to be in GNOME when you click on, I guess it's applications up there, or if you do the, maybe it's super key tab.
Super key.
Yeah, and it brings out all the windows. How did that work for you? Did it work okay?
Yeah. Huh. And see, GNOME worked perfectly fine when I was running Fedora on the exact same device. I really liked GNOME on Fedora on that device. It's just I couldn't get the right and left click to work with the touchpad on Ubuntu for some reason.
Right. Yeah, that's a weird one. Huh.
Oh. Anybody else using it?
Me, or at least for a little bit. So I installed 2004 beta. I guess it was about 2 weeks prior to the release, just to kind of give it a go and see how things are shaping up. I wanted to give Snaps another chance. And it was on this laptop, the one I'm on right now. But, if it tells you anything about how much I enjoyed it, I am not on GNOME now. So I tried to stick as default as I possibly could. Because as Joe was talking about, I mean, Uku, like I could install that, but if I ever had any issues or whatever, I wouldn't be able to say that it was Ubuntu and not the kernel or something like that. So I tried to keep it as stock as I could. I will say battery life was improved with kernel 5.4, so I did appreciate that on my laptop. As my batteries age, the timing is, I get less battery juice out of it now. And I'm thinking about buying a new battery, at least because this particular laptop has 2 batteries, one internal, one external, and I don't want to kill the internal one, so I'm thinking about buying a new external just so it doesn't have to hand off to that internal one. It's really handy to have. Anyway, so pretty much everything got installed via Snap, right? Mumble was installed via Snap. Audacity was installed via Snap, and pretty much everything else, right? I mean, I think I did Discord and Snap, Telegram and Snap. Chromium I did install, but I think you didn't have a choice. I don't think it was in the repo. I think it was just straight Snap. Music Brains Picard, just a ton of software. My normal slew of software, just all installed via Snap. The only real complaints that I've got about Snap is the theming. Theming just it bugs me. It bugs me so much. Like when you mouse into not all, some Snap applications, the mouse cursor will change to that little XApp old style cursor, and sometimes it just won't respect your theme at all. So I mean, little things like that really bug me. They shouldn't. They really shouldn't, because as far as stability goes, snaps are fantastic. I don't think one crashed on me, even during the beta. Not a single snap crash. So as far as all that
they
goes,
set off that little bit of OCD.
That's really what it is. It really, really is. And as I talk about the application switcher thing, that's another reason. You know, it's just me being picky about the different things that I see or perceive on an operating system. So none of my criticisms on Ubuntu are actually functional type criticisms. Everything worked. It is a rock solid distribution that if I had to be on it, it would be just fine. I would not have any real technical complaints. My complaints are just all cosmetic, right? So, yeah, so the wonky GTK themes and the slow startup times. You click on a snap, and it's different for every snap. Not all snaps suffer from this, but you click on a snap, and it just sometimes it will just take forever. Chromium is a prime suspect when it comes to something like that. You click on Chromium, and I swear it's like 4 seconds before you ever see it. And I'm like, man, I'm on an SSD. Man, I've got a decent processor. It should be okay.
That's supposed to only be the case for the first time you start it up.
No.
Each snap, after you've run the snap, it should already be ready to go.
Right. So the first time you start it on first boot. So if you reboot, you're in the same boat. It's going to take a while for those things to start up. So it's great. Again, just those things just kind of bug me. So one of the cool things about being on Biddle, though, is these past couple of episodes, Martin Wimpress has been there. And for those of you that don't know, he is the head of the desktop team, if I remember correctly. And that means that he has intricate knowledge of exactly where things are going on the Ubuntu desktop. And as well, since he's the lead of the Ubuntu Mate desktop, that means he has really good knowledge about that as well. One thing that I got some clarification on last night was these issues are not invisible to them. They see them, they know about them, and they are working on them. So that made me happy. That's all I needed to hear. I don't need a timeline. I don't need, apologies or anything like that. I get it. This is a technically difficult thing to do. So just the fact that I know that it's on their radar makes me happy, and I'll be okay with that. And when it comes down, when the fixes come down, cool. I will be ecstatic. So those issues, the theming issues, the cursor, the non-consistent theming, and the startup time were pushed back for some more technical issues that needed to land in 2004. They needed to have those things going, and I'm happy about that. But the theming and all of that are now on the front burner again, so they're going to be concentrating on them. And yes, this is great. So another thing that that I got clarification on was if you installed Ubuntu 18.04, any flavor, the very first one, you were not automatically eligible for the hardware enablement kernels as they came down in 18.04. I think 1, but definitely 2 and 3 and 4. So the new kernels, you weren't going to get them unless you manually opted in. And it was easy enough, right? It was like a sudo apt install 2 different things. I don't remember exactly what they were, but it was easy enough on 18.04 to turn that on. But if you installed 18.04.1, if that was where you started, then you were automatically opted into the hardware enablement stuff. Well, that is no more. If you install the desktop version of Ubuntu, you are automatically opted into hardware enablement no matter which version you installed. So that means that in the later versions, the point releases, you'll just get those kernels, which I think, at least for me it is going to be a good thing for just about everybody. Certainly there will be someone that will their kernel or their system will blow up after a kernel update. And there will be a way to opt out of that. So if you want to just stick on the base kernel or whatever, Martin said that he will be putting out a post on how exactly to do that. So I'll keep my ear to the ground on that, and if when that comes through, I will make sure to talk about it here on the show. And then the last thing that I had on Ubuntu GNOME was that I stuck with it up until about release day. I think I'd stuck with another couple days after that. And on my desktop, I did try it out on my desktop as well, alongside Fedora, so I could get a real feel for the difference between what does Fedora do with GNOME? The answer to that is nothing, by the way. And then what does Ubuntu do to GNOME? And so there is some different feel between the two. And, to be honest, I gotta say the Fedora implementation is really good. Really, really good. And I guess that's just the GNOME desktop implementation of it. But anyway, the animations on my laptop. This was kind of what I was alluding to earlier. The animations, when you're minimizing a window, when you're maximizing a window, not really when you're dragging anything around, and especially when you hit or when you get the applications to all display on your screen. There's an animation that pops them all out, and you can see and then pick which one you want. That was the first time that you did it in a while. I would say probably after about 15 minutes, if I did it again, it would just stutter. And again, not a technical issue. It is more cosmetic, but it just bugs me. The apps will just like stutter across the screen and eventually end up in place. And then if I hit the switcher again, it'll go away and it'll be smooth. And then I'll hit the switcher again to bring all the apps out, and then it will be smooth. But that first time, it just looks like there's so much that needs to be shoved into video memory. That integrated graphics on my laptop. I'm on a 5300U, which means I'm using the i9-15 Intel driver to do all my graphics. That just seemed like it was overwhelming the graphics card. And this is not an old laptop. That I think is my main complaint about it, is that this is not an old laptop. It was minted in 2015. So I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a laptop that is business class-ish in 2015 should be able to handle the animations in Ubuntu. But, I get it. You can't support everything, and you can't make everything run smoothly on everything. But I don't know. I just kind of had that feeling that the laptop from 2015 could handle it. And go ahead.
I was wondering if we were going to actually cover the features. So we kind of skipped right past that.
Oh, we just like to talk about, whatever we want to talk about.
We just like to talk, yeah.
Yeah, for real. So yeah. Right after this, we'll head into the features and talk about all of that. But yeah, so the stutters. That was eventually what got me away from it. And I'll let you guys in on what I'm actually using now. If I think I may have already said it, but anyway, features. Moss, take that away. Show me what do we get? What is Ubuntu 2004?
Okay, well, it comes with Linux kernel 5.4. It features faster boot speeds, has the OEM logo displayed during boot, improved appearance, dark theme, fractional scaling settings. It ships with GNOME 3.36, has a redesigned login screen, a new lock screen, and snap-based Ubuntu software app, improved GNOME shell performance, refined ZFS install support, and game mode is added to the archives.
Oh, that's something that I didn't check out. I need to check out this game mode.
I thought you'd have checked that first, Leo.
No, well, I mean, I don't know. I'm usually so into just configuring all of my own stuff. I've gotten pretty good at it now that I don't even check. But this is something that I should check out.
So should we move to another flavor?
Yeah, and just the whole thing about the stuttering, it just gets me. Because what kind of processor or graphics card do you have in that 7140, Joe?
I don't even know. I mean, it's integrated graphics in that 7140, so that one has an Atom processor in it.
My God, that would totally be worse than what I've got, I assume.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it's a tablet. Nothing fancy,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So then it's something with just this chip that I don't know. I don't know. But GNOME has always performed like that for me on this laptop. So that's just I don't know. But it just bugs me. But yeah, as Moss said, next up, Ubuntu Mate. Who's running this one?
I might as well do that while I'm here, since I play with it more than most.
Yes, you do.
Ubuntu Mate 2004 features include better support for high DPI rendering throughout the UI, minimized window previews in the taskbar, and new notification indicator settings, including a Do Not Disturb mode. The distro has decided to drop Compiz and Compton from the default install, as they're no longer considered necessary, and this is an LTS release. There's also a new GTK front end for the FWUPD application. This will make it easy to check for firmware updates for connected devices and apply said updates if available. Finally, all the goodies present in the upstream Mate Desktop 1.24 release are present here. So who on this team has tried that one? I know I have.
Nope.
I was thinking maybe Tony Watts, but no. You know who would have? Tony Hughes. And where's this guy?
I am a big fan of Mate, but didn't have time to give it a spin.
Yeah, so I think we'll pick Tony Hughes' brain on Mate next time.
Well, my biggest peeve is the icons for end the current session, lock screen, and turn off the device don't look like any of those things in any way and are tiny, tiny, tiny things. This is a serious problem for visually impaired people, and the icons themselves are an issue for everyone. Is this a Mate issue or just Ubuntu Mate?
You know, I don't know that it would be an Ubuntu specific issue, because when you do the whole power off thing in Ubuntu, you don't get icons. I don't think it's just straight text. So I'm not looking at it right now, but I remember
when you click menu quit, like you would in Mint, you get the menu up there, and there's these little tiny things that don't look, you don't have anything that looks like an off button. You don't have anything that looks like anything. There's just little bitty squares.
Huh. But that reminded me of another one of those little cosmetic things that I noticed in Ubuntu proper, which was when you click on the power button up in the top right-hand corner, and then you get the options. I think there's a lock screen or something like that, but there's no restart from that. And there, not necessarily that there should be, but it's not totally intuitive that when you click on power off, restart is going to be a sub option.
That has been a feature in Ubuntu for a number of versions now, though. So I'm kind of used to that.
Yeah, it's so weird to me, though. Power off and then restart, because when you restart, you're not powering off.
Otherwise, this felt like the old familiar shirt you've worn for the last 10 years when you just want to relax. Nothing feels new. Everything works.
Very nice. Hey, do you know what the current Compiz and Compton are no longer there? What is the current one?
I don't know that. I barely play with Compiz anymore.
Interesting. Oh, it's Marco. That's what it is. Okay. And the reason I bring that up is because the last time I used Mate, I remembered that whatever the default was, and I'm assuming it's Marco, I'm not positive, I had a lot of screen tearing, and that didn't go away until I chose Compiz. So I wonder, I'm going to have to try it on a couple of different machines just to see if I get that same screen tearing issue or not.
Okay, well, nobody else tried that. Why don't we move to another flavor?
Kubuntu!
Kubuntu features recent KDE Plasma 5.18 LTS release. For instance, there's a new color emoji selector, better theming of GTK apps, refined app and system notifications, and a system tray toggle for the night color option. A swathe of updated KDE applications are available through Discover, the software store, including newer versions of KDN Live, KDE Connect, and the Latte dock. There's a new default music player in Kubuntu. The distro has chosen to switch from the Qt-based Cantata to the Qt-based Eliza as of this release. So who on the team has tried it? I did install it on my Galago Pro, and I continue to play with it. I tried to use Clementine Music Player in Kubuntu 2004. I was using it in the beta, but it seemed to freak out to the point of appearing to wipe my music drive and bombarding me with tons of notifications, but in fact just freaked out all by itself, and the drive is fine. That did give me a chance to update my backups. I saw later on YouTube where Sneaky Linux had the same issue with Clementine on Xubuntu and switched to Strawberry Player, so I did the same. I'm also having some issues with console in Kubuntu. It looks like it tears under each line, almost like thin underlining. Might be my resolution. Anyone else played with this one?
Oh, yeah. So I alluded to it before, but that's what I'm recording on right now. Kubuntu is
Nice.
very nice. So you know what it is? You know what actually just gets me about Kubuntu? The animations are smooth. That's it. That's all it took. That's all it took to get me to fall in love with something. Just if you're gonna do animations, they got to be smooth. And in Kubuntu, they are absolutely smooth. So this was after I did my whole thing with the Ubuntu GNOME. After that first couple of days after release, I was like, you know what? I think it's time. Let's get on to Kubuntu, try it out again, because Kubuntu has just been my distro of choice behind Cinnamon, or behind Linux Mint for a very long time. I think it's just KDE Plasma in general is just really nice. And so the fact that the animations were smooth, that there weren't really any slowdowns outside of the things that I covered before. I mean, snap is snap no matter where you go. The other thing, here's the other killer feature that I'm starting to think I can't live without: terminal blur. It makes it feel so premium. I don't know how else to describe that, but opening up a terminal and being able to make it, I mean, pretty close to 100% transparent, but still be able to read the text on the screen, be able to differentiate between colors and things like that. The terminal blur. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to ping me, and I will send you a screenshot of what I'm talking about. But I can't get over it. That is a killer feature for me, and I think GTK needs to make it happen as soon as possible. This is Qt magic. It's just magic, and I love it.
Well, my problem might be that I'm running on a lower resolution for my eyesight. I'm doing the 1390 by 720 or something like that, which is the second highest level I could run it at. But like I say, when I'm in console, I'm getting little thin lines of some color between each line of the terminal.
Oh yeah, that's weird. I've not seen that. But Moss, you might want to try the fractional scaling options instead of changing the resolution. That way, things are a lot more crisp on the screen.
I've tried that on more than a few distros, and it works on some things and doesn't work on others.
Yeah, I think that's a per app thing. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. We don't really have the consistency of elementary at this time.
Ooh, so can they do it?
I don't know. I haven't tried it. I will say that you tend to go to Kubuntu for the KDE magic. I tend to go to Farron OS, which has the KDE magic and the Mint magic, and uses the Mint software manager instead of Discover, and has a bunch of other cool little Mint tools in it that you won't find in Kubuntu without adding them yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very true. True that. One thing that you brought it up, and I totally forgot to talk about it, but Discover, it works now. Like, works. And I did my best to install everything that I could. Obviously things that, like, not libraries. You can't really do that easily through any of the software magic or software managers. But it installed everything. I don't think Discover crashed once on me.
I've been following Discover for quite some time, and it has been getting noticeably better each time that they upgrade it. And I think it's worked pretty well for the last year and a half on most distros. But definitely it works now. But I still like the Mint Package Manager better.
Yeah,
I think
it's faster.
When you guys were talking about the Discover issues and the woes that you had with it, I think I've only been testing out. I think it was KD Neon that I've been on the most probably, and that's been within the last year and a half. So that makes sense. I had not seen the issues that you guys talked about. It seemed to work pretty smooth for me in that amount of time.
So, Tony, you've been playing with Kubuntu too. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah.
Now I probably should elaborate on when I say I'm playing with these. I literally created startup USBs for Kubuntu and Ubuntu Studio, and I have them on laptops next to me as of this afternoon. So not extensive playing, but I had Kubuntu running on the Dell 7130. It actually is right now, and I didn't spend a lot of time with it. But what I can tell you is for a desktop using KDE, I wouldn't have expected it to work this well. It really is very smooth. And this 7130, I should say, is the i3 version too. So this is a pretty wimpy machine, and it's running. Kubuntu's running beautifully on this. No problems in the few things that I've tried.
Yeah, I guess my issues were completely GNOME based, and I will say that KDE does feel very classic when I run it on any of my tablets.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot more to say than that. It's just the startup disk, so I haven't really been installing things and stuff like that. But as far as the touchpad and the touch screen actions and running things in Firefox and all of that, everything is very smooth, very fast.
Very nice. So are we gonna, at the very end of this, are we gonna like draw straws and then figure out which one we endorse as a group?
We could do that, but it depends on use case largely in the case of some of these like Ubuntu Studio.
Very true.
Yeah,
very
well,
true.
like I said, I've got Kubuntu on my Galago Pro, but I'm running Mate on my Kudu. So there's no clear winner there.
Yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out. So next up is Ubuntu, Xubuntu.
Yeah. No release notes for new features, but there is a new dark theme. Anyone tried this one?
You know why there's no release notes for new features? There probably aren't any new features.
Right. It's still got GNOME in the background. It hasn't even been removed. So, yeah, they just put XFCE on there with it and made it primary.
Yeah. The dark theme is a nice touch. I'm really glad that this is something that got added to it, though, especially in time for the long-term support release, which means, yeah, we're looking at 3 to 5 years. Well, 3, I think. 3 years of support for this thing. So dark mode is a good touch.
That was sarcasm on my part. I assume that they did remove GNOME, but they just added XFCE.
Well, I will point out that Ubuntu Studio also uses XFCE, and I tried that for a hot minute and then switched back to Kubuntu and put the Studio features on that.
Yeah, I need to look into doing that. That is something that I should do, because I'm the same way. I tried it for just a little bit, but yeah, we'll move on.
Okay, Ubuntu Buggy features. Chief among these is a brand new application menu inspired by Slingshot, the stock app launcher used in elementary OS. The app launcher has an optional power strip mode which embeds session management buttons into the app launcher beside the search box. There's also a new native network manager applet for managing wired and Wi-Fi web connections, better high DPI support, a new desktop layout chooser, and a better window shuffler, too. App-wise, the Ubuntu Buggy team has replaced GNOME MPV with its successor, Celluloid, and adds the really terrific, somebody added, drawing app to its default software roster. Anyone here tried that?
Nope.
Buggy is normally one of those distros that I will try, and just during this cycle, I never got a chance to. But I do love it.
Yeah, I normally try it. In fact, I even joined the team for a short while, and maybe that's why I haven't tried it, because just some of the workings of the team, or the way I wasn't integrating into the team and didn't have time and blah, 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 made me feel like I'd let them down or something. So I haven't given it a shot yet, but I'm sure I will.
So we'll probably have more to come on a lot of these distros. Yeah, because I think we're just settling on our favorites, or the ones that work best for us. So has anybody gotten playing with celluloid? Because even Mint, I think, is on celluloid, right?
Right?
I think I try to look for just one application that will play my videos and my music, and that always ends up being VLC. I just wish that celluloid had a couple of more features, and I think the feature I'm looking for in celluloid for music purposes, videos it's fine, but for music purposes is a better playlist, a better way to kind of handle the playlist, I guess. But either way, I mean, it's good. It's still good.
Yeah, I do all my videos on Kodi, or if I'm on Amazon Prime, I just do it through my browser.
Yeah, true. Most of my videos do come through Plex or Netflix or something like that. So yeah, most of the time I'm not really doing videos in celluloid or VLC.
So stay tuned, and we will have more on Ubuntu Buggy in the future.
Yeah. Hey, on celluloid, does it do the network stuff like VLC does? Does it have the network support that's comparable, would you say? Or I haven't really used it.
I don't think any other player really does the network stuff like VLC does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's something I would definitely have to look into.
So moving along, Ubuntu Studio. Features: the audio plugin selection is expanded further with a handful of new plugins included for audio production needs. MyPaint returns the default install where it sits alongside the latest version of the GIMP image editor. The Ubuntu Studio Controls utility now lets you assign names to Pulse Audio jack bridges and has been organized a touch to make it take up less screen space. So who's tried it? I did it briefly, and like I said, I dumped it for Kubuntu and added the studio tools. Tony?
Yeah, I've got it sitting in front of me right now on a laptop. Again, live USB.
Yeah.
But I will say, after just playing with it for a minute, and I've used Ubuntu Studio before, I am definitely going to make sure this stays on one of my partitions in my studio. This is one of those, like, why not have it? When it comes to multi-boot, I mean, this should be one of your boot options if you create things, just kind of period. But one of the things that people will comment about on Ubuntu Studio is that the ISO is a little large. I think it's actually not bad at all as far as file size go for everything that it comes with. It still comes in under 4 gigabytes, so any flash drive that's at least that much will be able to handle that. It's 3.6 gigs. That's really not so bad. One comment just on kind of the polish of the desktop. XFCE looks amazing in Ubuntu Studio. It's been a few versions since I've used it. It looks really slick to me. But the main draw of Ubuntu Studio, really just as it always has been, is the selection of stuff that's pre-installed. And yeah, you can go out and get all of this stuff on any distro, and certainly you can. And a lot of this stuff I do grab no matter what I'm on, but it just comes packed with so much stuff. And even if you never use it all, it's just nice that anything you might need for video, audio, for photos, all that stuff is just built in. Video, it comes with OBS pre-installed, I noticed, that's awesome. It also comes with both Kdenlive and OpenShot for video editing. Audio, there's more stuff than you can shake a stick at, but it comes with Audacity. It comes with Ardor for a multi-track DAW. It comes with all kinds of custom sound card support, including this ancient sound card thing that I use from 20 years ago. It needs a utility for managing that. The NV24 based sound card utility, it just happens to come with it. Comes with Guitarix and Rack, which are guitar sound programs. Comes with multiple loopers, drum samplers, just all kinds of stuff. So if you, with the music stuff I do, I'm like, yeah, I just need this to be on my computer at all times. I don't know why I ever strayed from that. But as a bonus, one of the things that I noticed that I thought was kind of random, but also very cool because I'm a big fan, is KDE Connect. For whatever reason, comes installed on it. Don't know what that has to do with creating, but I support it. KDE Connect is a nice tool.
Have you used it?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I am a fan of KDE Connect. I don't use it as much as I used to, but yeah, it is a really good tool to have.
Mm-hmm. If I were able to run Linux at for my job, I would definitely use it. Like for the machine I'm in front of all day while I'm working. Unfortunately, I have to use Windows for that, but yeah, it's great.
The KDE Connect, the features that come with it. Joe, you were talking about, and something I'm still working on, getting the audio on the live stream. KDE Connect would actually be a pretty decent solution for that, right? Because you could just have the files on your desktop and then just click on them when you need them, as a very rudimentary fix to all of this.
Yeah.
So that would certainly clear something like that up. And I've got a couple extra Android phones sitting around here that I can use with KDE Connect. So I already use. And something I forgot to talk about in the Wanderings. I've been using DroidCam a lot. Thanks, Tony Watts. I appreciate that.
Oh, awesome! Cool.
It is. It was way easier to set up than I thought, but ended up stumbling over myself a couple different times when I was getting it working. Yeah, you obviously need to have the DroidCam app on your phone for it to work.
No, DroidCam integrates with IPCam, right?
Well, yes, but the more helpful thing I thought is that you can use it wired with Android ADB, so you don't have any latency that you might get with an IP cam. Unfortunately, I was trying it on a really old computer, and I think regardless of the webcam, that computer just wasn't going to do a great job at video streaming. But anyway, you can use it as a wired webcam, which is one of the advantages, I think, of that over a IP cam solution.
Yeah, I was complaining about my my integrated camera on my laptop being busted, and then I didn't figure this out forever because I never use a camera. But I've been doing these Zoom meetings for Biddle, and that was a really good solution. The
nice,
the DroidCam. So I do appreciate that, Tony. You saved my life.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I did use Ubuntu Studio for a little bit as well, and I have to agree, the theme, fantastic. I cannot remember, but it is the one. It is the theme that was created a little while ago, and it was meant to be the Android kind of theme-ish for Linux. And they have integrated that into the XFCE desktop in Ubuntu Studio, and man, it is slick because XFCE doesn't really have a lot of flash on it in the first place, right? But adding in the animations when you click on things, just it's animated enough to be a nice touch without being distracting. And to be honest with you, I think for someone that may not be 100% sure about what they're doing, like when you click on something, it gives you that feedback, just like a tap would on a phone. So yeah, just I don't know, that I think that is the one feature that really carries it over the line for me for something that I would definitely use. And I need to get into Jack, but I don't want to have to install Jack. So I think Ubuntu Studio is going to be something that I come back to over and over again. I mean, Tony, you're right. Why don't you just have it?
You don't know Jack.
I
don't. I really do not.
Yeah,
in more
I don't
than
either.
one way.
But installing is one hurdle you'd already be past, I guess. You're right. I'm afraid to mess with Jack because I think what it would do is suck me into a couple hour rabbit hole for something that would really just kind of be for fun. So even with all the extra time we have right now, I don't know if I have enough time to dive into that, but I will someday.
Yeah, and you had mentioned, Moss, I think, the Ubuntu Studio Controls utility. Now this is the thing that's going to allow me to understand what Jack is doing, because they have created a little bit of a front end for the way that Jack and all of its companion softwares work. And through the Ubuntu Studio Controls, you're able to, do your audio rerouting and things like that without a whole lot of pain, as I don't know how many times I've gotten through like a Jack tutorial and it's like, all right, open up the terminal and we're going to start messing with pulse audio. And I'm like, nope, here's where I'm done. Like I can do the server stuff, but as soon as we start talking about the innards of an audio stack, it's like, I don't know what any of this means. I don't know what this does, and I don't know how badly I'm going to break it, and will I be able to come back from it? So I think this is something that is going to help me really kind of understand what's going on here, and it may help me figure out all the other weird issues that I've been having with microphones and whatnot as well.
By the way, Take commented in our IRC that celluloid is an MPV front end.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It plays my videos, and it's got a mediocre playlist. Better playlist. I need a better playlist.
Should we move on?
Let's do it.
Okay, Ubuntu features, well, we don't know, but it's the first Ubuntu LTS with LXQT instead of LXDE. I attempted to install it, but I couldn't get past the Calamares UEFI installer. There was a checkbox that wasn't there that needed to be there, and so it didn't let me go on. Anyone else tried it?
That kind of thing reminds me of the Solus installer, where it's not intuitive that you need to be clicking where there's nowhere that you can.
It was exactly the same situation.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I don't know what made you think that like a total blank space is a good place to put a checkbox. Like what?
Well, I ran into the same issue on installing Sabayon, but for some reason, if I just left that area blank, it went ahead and installed Sabayon without installing the bootloader.
Oh. What?
Yeah, I didn't have to redo my boot.
Huh. All right.
I was very happy. Anyhow, we're talking Ubuntu. Let's see if anyone has anything to say.
Well, I kind of looked at least doing a startup disk for Ubuntu like I did for some of the others, and at least going that far. And for whatever reason, I'm on Ubuntu's site right now, and the most recent version for download they seem to have is 1904. So I skipped it.
That's interesting. They should at least have 1910.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm clicking on their download page right now. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. You are not wrong. Wow. The recent post is 1904. So I wonder if it's just somewhere else?
Like on the Ubuntu page?
Well, I don't know that it would be there, would it?
I would imagine that would redirect you here. I don't know.
Let's find out.
Okay. But anyway, I thought about it.
Okay, I just clicked download Ubuntu 2004 in DuckDuckGo, and it says downloads Ubuntu, ubuntu.me/downloads. And it says, I didn't load the page, but it says that it's available there.
Huh. Well, I'm on Ubuntu.net, which I think is the real one, right?
Well, it says
Ubuntu...
ubuntu.me/downloads.
On the Ubuntu page, it links to ubuntu.me, and it gives you the 2004 LTS.
And yes, they are there.
Yeah, wow, that's very strange. Okay.
Yeah, because in DuckDuck, well, actually, no, in Google it came up first, the Ubuntu.net one. So did they abandon that website and then move to me?
That's how I got there, though. I just Googled Ubuntu, and I assumed I was at the right page.
That's what you get for not using DuckDuckGo, people.
Ah, man, that's Well, maybe they'll hear this because that's difficult.
But yeah, I went to the ubuntu.com/download/flavors and then clicked on Ubuntu, and that took me to ubuntu.me.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just changing domains. Interesting.
So, any more on Ubuntu?
Nah, I think that's about it. We need to give it a dive though, because it is a really good lightweight distro.
Ubuntu Chillin'. The only thing we know about it is it's intended to be a Chinese language. There is an English language version, and they have a new Qt-based desktop environment. Has anyone tried this one?
I haven't, but it looks fantastic. If you go and check out the screenshots of this thing, it is almost indistinguishable from Windows 10. It is it's uncanny.
I
how
wondered
close
about
it is.
that. Yeah, when it first came out, it was like a Windows 7 clone almost. So they've just updated the theme to resemble 10, it sounds like. All right.
Yeah, and they moved to Qt to do that because Windows 10 has a lot of those fadey effects when you're minimizing stuff and all that, and I think they found it easier to do that with the Qt libraries than with the GTK ones. So yeah, that was another change that came in 2004 for them. Actually, it may have happened a little earlier than that, but yeah, that is a more recent change for all of that. But yeah, looks just like Windows 10. It's crazy. It is crazy how close that looks.
Okay, and last but least is Ubuntu Cinnamon Respin. We haven't heard anything about the 2004 on this that I have. We don't know what new features. Probably everything that's in 2004, but has anyone heard anything or tried it?
No, I haven't heard anything yet, but considering it's just the one guy working on it.
Well, there are a few more. When he was on the show, he mentioned that he was getting input from a lot of different people, especially from the Mate desktop. So he's definitely getting some help to get everything up and running. But as far as I know, it's good. I tried it in a VM for a little bit, and I mean, it's cinnamon. Like it feels like Linux Mint without all of the goodies that you get with Linux Mint. And I mean, if that's what you're looking for, then that's it. That's the one. You get all of the ability to install PPAs. You get snaps instead of Flatpaks installed by default. Though, one thing I did learn is that installing the Flatpak, just Flatpak support on Ubuntu is super easy. Super sudo apt install Flatpak, the end, and then you probably want to add FlatHub as one of the repos. But yeah, that was one thing that I did on Ubuntu Cinnamon to get kind of a more minty feel out of it, and it's good. It was absolutely great. So I don't know, only in a VM, but long story short, it was good. It felt like Mint, and that felt like home. So yeah, nothing bad to say about it. But I will say, unless anybody else tried it,
no,
then I will say, let's not forget about Ubuntu Lumina. Ubuntu Lumina is a lightweight distribution that is going to be based off of I thought I had it. Oh, the Lumina desktop environment. I don't know. Oh, man. That's where my brain's at right now. Yeah, Ubuntu Lumina is based off the Lumina desktop. So yeah, this is the environment that was made by the TrueOS guys, and yeah, just brought over here in Ubuntu Lumina. So give that a spin. I have not given it a try, and if you're really into lightweight, give this a shot.
Good to know.
So that okay.
Yeah, that's Cinnamon and Lumina vying for real flavor status.
Overall issues with Ubuntu 2004, we have commented on the fact that this is a new LTS. Several apps did not work properly in 1804 LTS, which worked fine in 1604 and had to be reworked. In this vein, several users have noted a problem with the Clementine music player. Anyone have any other things that they found not working? We know they'll fix them. We just know that. But for now, I know with 1804, I especially had a problem with the Mulvad app, and they had to totally rewrite that.
No, I've had in both 1804 and 2004, I had a really good experience overall. I can't think of any particular app that just kept exploding on me. Telegram for a little while on pretty much every distro would just like randomly close for just no reason, like in the middle of me typing something, it would just close. And the funny thing is when I opened it back up, it would remember most of what I typed. So I don't know what was going on there, but that eventually got fixed. I think it was a Telegram on Linux desktop issue that they finally got ironed out. But that's really the only app that I had issues with on any version.
Yeah, I've not noticed anything buggy at all.
It's still Ubuntu early days too.
Yeah, Ubuntu GNOME tends to be. I have a lot of like 10-year-old computers at the house that are still in use, and Ubuntu GNOME tends to be a little resource heavy on those than the last couple versions compared to like. Well, I mean, it's what you expect, right? Compared to Mate or Ubuntu or what have you. So there's that. If you're running really old hardware, the Ubuntu GNOME may drain a little more of your resources, but I don't think that's unreasonable either, right? I'm using things that probably should have been retired a long time ago.
And I do want to say with GNOME that it has greatly improved when it comes to resource management. There used to be a lot of issues with memory leaks and it just really bogging down your system. But it last couple of editions, I guess, have shown a lot of improvement, even though it is still one of the more resource-intensive desktops.
I'm glad to hear that, because when it comes to you think of Ubuntu being able to run more performant than Windows, on old hardware, and that's historically been true. So I hope that's more the case. I think the last go around I had was with Ubuntu GNOME was 1804. I haven't tried since then, so I'd be curious to give it a spin.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it, because the version increments have just made it so much better.
Well, remember, if you do have problems with 2004, just wait for 2004.1, and I'm sure they'll have 99% of them fixed at that point.
Yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but that conversation between myself and Martin Wimpress we ended up talking more about snaps, and they said that they were going to fix the slow startup and the theming issues, and that you wouldn't have to do anything, and you wouldn't even have to wait till 2004.1 to get those fixes. Snap is just going to, one day, it'll just be fixed, and that's going to be so good.
Well, we all know they definitely got the right guy for the desktop team.
Yeah. No regrets. No regrets right now. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for all of our Ubuntu chatter. If you guys have been trying one or more of them out, let us know. Because I want to talk about what the heck is going on with all of these Ubuntus, and I want to know what kind of experience that you're having on it, which one's your favorite desktop, all of that kind of fun stuff, because a lot of what you're going to experience in Ubuntu is going to be the same exact thing that you're going to experience in Linux Mint. So if we can submit bugs and all that kind of fun stuff now, then Linux Mint will be that much better come June time. All right, and that'll wrap it up for our innards section. So let's move on down to vibrations from the ether. So we had quite a few pingbacks on just various places. So we'll just kind of go down these as we got them. So first up was Londoner from Telegram, and this was in regards to something that Tony had said. So Londoner says, Tony Hughes, by the way, your comment on last week's podcast, you didn't need to download a separate ISO for boot repair. Since 19.2, it has been included in the live USB, at least for Cinnamon. Boot into the live environment, and it is in the menu under administration. So yeah, Tony, look there.
And Londoner is listening right now and is on our IRC room. So
hey,
that's quick feedback to him.
Yeah, and then Tony's not here to give him the feedback. So yeah, we'll push this one to the next one, or we'll twist Tony's arm to chat with you in Telegram. All right, next up is K-Wisher from MeWe. I don't know how MeWe works. I think I don't know if this is a direct message to me or not, but I responded anyway. So anyway, he said, you guys should also consider IPFire as a router distro. I've been running it for years. I've tried pfSense, but I always fall back to IPFire for its simplicity for home use. Keep up the great work on the show. I said, I will take a look. I knew it existed because I've seen that little Penguin on Fire logo many, many times, but never really bothered since I was coming from a Cisco world, which every time you do something like that, the word enterprise comes up, and small business and large enterprise and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of nails into you this idea that it needs to have crazy support, and you need to have people that you can call. Not that you can't do that with IPFire, just that it doesn't seem like it's when I went to the website, it didn't seem like it was like proper support. Because pfSense, they've got their own thing all ready to go, and they package their own software. They give their own software, distribute their own software. The whole nine. They control it from top to bottom. It didn't seem like it was that way with IPFire, and I think that was what pushed me away from it in the first place. But for home, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. So I'm gonna play around with this in a VM, because that's what really got me into pfSense in the first place. But yeah, definitely worth a look.
And no, Leo, there are not direct messages on MeWe. It was just posted to the group.
Ah, cool. So thanks for that. And next up, X1 Cygnus from Telegram again. He said, you guys should think about having guests from the community on your podcast to talk about user experiences here and there. Maybe not for the whole show, but part of it. Maybe about why they got started in Linux, why they chose Linux Mint over other distros, and how they use it today. Might be interesting, and it might provide some value to listeners that want to just use Linux and not be afraid of using it at the end. So yeah, my response was, all right, we'll come on the show.
Really, we haven't turned anyone away yet.
No, we haven't. And okay, so here's the deal with this. I think this is a good thing. We have all actually talked about this many times in the past, and because it's coming in from a user, and I don't think we prompted anybody for this before. I think that was the kick in the pants that I needed to just finally say, yeah, okay, let's do this. So, per our conversation yesterday, guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna schedule a time with X1 Cygnus or Scott. We're gonna schedule a time for him this next show. Is that right?
Or he could just do some audio recording and send it in to us, and we tack it in.
Yes. So that's the alternative. So, and I think this is kind of half a call out to people that want to do this, and half spitballing how we're gonna do this. Go ahead.
I do kind of like the idea of having some listeners come on and act as a host, at least for one show, and just see how it goes.
Yeah, because we can't call ourselves the Linux Mint podcast for all of the Linux Mint community if we don't have people from the Linux Mint community come on here, right? Or the Linux community in general. Just we can't do that. You gotta go whole hog on this.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we've been failing in that regard.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've had Oliver on here. Oh man.
We had Alan Pope on.
That's right, and we had Josh Pesach on here from Ubuntu Cinnamon, and so I mean, yeah. That's right. So I think it's something that we're gonna that I know I certainly want to, something that we want to explore a whole lot more and make it a bigger part of what we do. So yeah. Well,
maybe after you get your soundboard set up so we get our music back during the live cast?
That might not be a bad idea. Joe has the solution for it. I just need to do an SSH session and then just have the commands queued up, ready to go. Because the way that I've got it set up is that desktop will play anything that I play on that desktop will go through to the live stream. So I literally just have to play the audio, and I just need a remote way to do that, and SSH is it. So Joe has the answer. I have not done it yet.
Hold on, could you say that one more time? I couldn't quite hear it.
Joe has the answer.
Yeah, that was the part. Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
He was referring to Joe Ressington, of course.
Oh, probably.
I'm going to cut that one out. It still
sounds nice.
I'm going to cut that one out, and I'm going to put that one on the soundboard. How about that?
Perfect.
Yep, and I'll play it. I'll play it every show. Joe has the answer. So yeah, long story short, Scott, I think I'm going to get with you, and we're going to figure out a time. If you can come on the show, that would be probably the easiest way. You need Mumble and Audacity, and if you don't want to do Audacity, you don't have to. We can just do Mumble. That's not a big deal. And this is a call out for anybody else that wants to come on the show. That if you've got something interesting to talk about, bring that to the show. If you don't have something interesting to talk about, we will just bombard you with questions about why this, why that, why Linux Mint, why any of that, right? So if you want to be part of this, let us know, and you can be part of this. So long story short, Scott, we'll get ourselves a time slot figured out. If not, if we can't do it live, then we'll do a recording, and then we'll add it into the final product. So yeah, short answer, yeah, do that. And you let's do that. All right. So next up, Dale Miracle from Telegram. So floating window managers. Now, this is another one of those things that we're going to piggyback off of Scott's suggestion to kind of follow up with this one. So anyway, so Dale writes in and says, floating window managers. I used Blackbox back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Been watching some YouTube videos. There seems to be small interest into them that appears to be growing. If no one has any experience or interest, I could help with that as well. And see, Dale, you put your foot in it because now you're going to be number 2. I feel like that is another really good show topic. Just window managers in general, floating windows or not. I think Lumina, if I'm not mistaken, is a window manager style. So, I mean, we could just wrap that into something else that we're talking about.
We'll have to catch him when he's at home. He's on the road a lot.
And yeah, we did talk about that. So he said he would carve out a weekend. I've already jumped on him about coming onto the show and talking about window managers. We've been back and forthing a little bit. So I think I already got a yeah from him. We just need to figure out a time.
I know that Dan from the Linux Link Tech Show has also recently been doing IceWM on his systems. So maybe I'll talk to him and see if he wants to join at the same time as Dale, and we can go over window managers.
Any window manager insight is going to be great because I don't use window managers.
Same here. Zero experience with window managers.
Yeah, so I'll definitely install one. I'll give it a shot, see how it works. I mean, it's all keyboard driven. Well, most of it is keyboard driven. You really don't need a mouse for a window manager. So, I mean, that's a big departure from the way that I do things in the first place, unless I'm in the terminal, obviously. But yeah,
sounds like it's perfect for me.
True, exact. And, we might end up being converts at the end of all of that. So, yeah, Dale, you're on the hook now. We just got to figure out what time we can do this. All right. So next up, an email from Dave W. Moss, I'm going to hand this off to you because this is really for you and Tony.
Yeah, I know. He says, and hey guys, but especially Moss and Tony, I hear you two talking a fair amount about struggling with grub. One of the most wonderful features of MX Linux, my daily driver, is MX Tools, of which there are so many that I don't even know what they all do. My favorite is the snapshot, I think he means, tool. But you guys will love the boot repair and boot options tools, and get this, they can actually be run from a live USB stick without installing the distro at all. You will get an MX-themed grub menu installed, but it's not terribly flashy or distracting. It will find all of your OSs, and you can even set it up to remember the last OS you booted and how long you want the grub menu displayed before booting the default OS. And I'm aware of all those things. You can do that in any grub, and Grub Customizer has all those tools in it too. But anyhow, I like Mint except for the Ubuntu underneath. I found LMDE3 competent but boring, and when it seemed to go on hiatus for a while, I gave up on it as a viable workaday option. I can't seem to shake MX as a go-to. I tried Manjaro, but it crashed on me too much, and I don't like Arch's alternative package management. Ubuntu is what I started with 8 months ago. It seemed to be what I was looking for in my long overdue exodus from Windows 10, let my people go. But it was just too business modely and buggy for me.
Oh, God, that was good.
Yeah. I think I could give the new LMDE an honest try, but it's going to be hard to tear me away from MX with its pristine package installer and with my latest love, the new zippy KDE Plasma on top. Anyway, I absolutely love your show, guys. Never miss an ep. Been a fan ever since I started using Tux. Keep up the stellar work, and don't forget, Tony and Moss, MX Tools are our friends. You guys are just too awesome, Dave W. P.S. Might I request or suggest a deep dive on custom Linux partitioning schemes, such as using separate partition/directories for media, documents, backups, etc., and how to recover the scheme if or when reinstalling or replacing the OS? And I replied, who's struggling with grub? We solved that one in 333.5.
So Dave wants reimagining of the Joe show.
Yes.
That last portion there, all the partitioning. Because I think that would... I think I'm the one that plays around with that the most when it comes to just changing the mounts so that different partitions in different directories in different places.
Yeah, I'll do that if I have to, but mostly for anytime I'm in a situation where it's like I've got a laptop and I need to install a type of Linux on it, I'm just like, next. It's fine. Whatever it is, it's fine. And usually that means that everything isn't just in one partition. So I'm probably a bad candidate for that. But I have done it. I've done server what am I trying to say here? Server deployments that required multiple partitions on multiple disks. So I'm familiar. I just don't do it for myself.
Yeah, maybe. But I think we've got the next few shows planned out now.
Sounds like.
Just one comment on Dave's commentary there. I did use the MX tools this week and did a boot repair from a live USB to restore Grub, and it worked.
Woohoo.
So
Dave to the rescue. Next up, Larry P says, "Howdy, where are your show notes? Thanks." And I told him they're posted with each episode on mintcast.org. So for those of you that don't know, for those of you that want these show notes and want to see all the chicken scratch and scribbles that we put together every single time, mintcast.org. Find your episode, click on the link. There they are. There's if you like to listen to the show there from the website, there's one at the top and one at the bottom. You can just press play and it goes.
Yeah, Moss makes our show notes look a lot less like chicken scratch.
Thank you, Moss. You're awesome.
Thank you,
Evidently,
guys.
I'm really horrible when it comes to putting my thoughts down on the page, and Moss cleans it up nicely.
Capitalization and punctuation. You're hard on apostrophes. You don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
All right, there actually is one more. I don't have it in the show notes. And yeah, this might make Moss angry because now I have to throw it all in there at one go. But
shame on you, Leo.
I know. So there is the saga that we're talking about, the security saga from Mr. John Wallace. We've been talking and back and forthing, and I just kind of want to encapsulate, because we're talking there were probably eight emails back and forth in the past couple of weeks, and really it was just today. Because I'm bad at email. But anyway, so we're just back and forthing, right? He's having the one of the issues that he was going through, or one of the things he's trying to learn about, is these kernel parameters and using sysctl, so system control, sysctl, to deal with these. And he's got some that the Linus software that he has been using for a while to kind of get an idea of what the security posture is on a particular machine. And then it comes back and spits at you. You should change this. You should change this. Well, he had done that, found some kernel parameters that he would like to change, and was curious on how to do that. And one of the big ways to do that is using syscontrol. But that, as he notes in one of his emails, is temporary. So if you want to test them out, then you can use syscontrol. Otherwise, you'll need to go into the etsy directory and find syscontrol.conf, and that way you can go and make those changes permanent. But I linked him a Red Hat document that pretty much goes into what they are and how to manipulate them. I do believe it also talks about the Red Hat recommends that you go to etsy-syscontrol.d and then create your changes there. And it looks like Ubuntu goes with etsy-syscontrol.conf instead of a directory to do all of that inside of. But anyway, it kind of gives you a good idea, background on how all that works. So I'll have that link in the show notes before we post that. And let me see, this saga. I'm calling it a saga because it really is a saga. So. And then one of the later emails was that he managed to blow up his Linux Mint build while implementing some of the security tweaks. And, there's just a couple of questions for me that, what happened, what caused it. And he said that he was changing more than one thing at a time. So I don't know. We just don't know what blew it up. So anyway, so he blew it up. He's rebuilding. And one of the other questions that he had was he was doing a mount. And I'm actually just reading this one on the fly. I don't actually know what he said on this one. So it was the first time that he had done some fstab recovery. So he had put in a line in fstab, but somehow messed it up. So on next boot, he gets dropped to the recovery mode where you can go in and make the changes. He just commented his line out and it worked. So I'm gonna have to look at this one, and it looks like, ooh, if that's the UUID that you're using, John, that's why. Use BLKID to find the UUID that that you need to be using for a particular volume, and then make sure that's an FS tab. So if it really is that 8-digit number with a dash in between, that UUID is not long enough. That may actually be what the issue was. So anyway, I'll dive into that one a little bit deeper and give you a more comprehensive answer on that one. And then I had a question lastly on IP tables and if those IP tables rules looked all right. And it did. To me, it looked just like they were the default UFW. So if you turn on UFW and you flip on the private profile, that looked just like the rules that get added. So he said, my approach will be to ignore the Linus message on IP tables for now and only look again when I would have some knowledge of IP tables. Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole deep dive, 2-3 show deep dive on just IP tables by itself. You can create, and this is how I assume IP Fire deals with their firewall rules. It just translates down to IP tables. But you can make a Linux box with 2 network cards. You don't even have to have 2 network cards because of how crazy IP tables can be. But a Linux box with 2 network cards, you can use IP tables to create yourself a full-on router from top to bottom. Use software in the repository to get yourself stuff like Squid, so you can do proxying. You've got OpenVPN available to you. So the enterprise solutions can be mirrored in Linux from scratch. But I imagine that's why IP Fire exists, right? So anyway, thanks again, John. I will I'll dive in a little bit further into some of those emails that we were just talking about and give you a bit of a better answer on some of those. Anyway, that'll do it for our feedback section. So we'll head on into check this out. So a recurring theme, John Wallace, mentioned in one of his emails that he was checking out Mastering Linux Security and Hardening by Donald A. Tevault. I'm going to go with Tevault. And it just looked like a really good book. This is from the Pact series. You will find these books go on sale on Humble Bundle all the time. So if you're interested in security, John Wallace is reading through that one. I think I might take a look as well. And if you're interested, yeah, check them out. They might be up on the Humble Bundle pretty soon. They usually are. And for me, Bash Top. Look, I've been using Fedora for a little while, right? And I stumbled upon Bash Top. And let me tell you, do you like HTOP? Yeah, Bash Top. That will upgrade your entire monitoring experience. It's fantastic. HTOP has colors, but Bash Top has colors. Look.
Yeah, I'm looking at the images right now, and
you just need to try it. Yeah, don't even question it. Just go in, look at the instructions. How do you install it, and use it. Just do it. One of the coolest things I found out about Bash Top is that Bash Top obviously is in the AUR. Everything's in the AUR, but it's also in the Fedora repository. Huh. So a DNF install Bash Top, and I was off and away. So just use it. Just try it. It's so good. It is so good. I also have in my check this out the link I was talking about the kernel parameters and syscontrol for John Wallace. So if you're curious about that, check out that link. And Joe, what do you want us to check out?
Well, I got a couple of YouTube links here for you. I'm linking Ben Heck Hacks, Ben Heckendorf, and he used to do the Ben Heck show with Element 14, and now they got a bunch of other people doing it, and I don't think it's as good. But I'm really liking Ben Heck Hacks, which is his new YouTube stuff. And this guy will go through the whole process of how he makes different pieces of electronics. The video I'm linking here was him making single-handed PS4 controllers. And the whole prototyping stage, anything that he has to do, he will show the whole process and it's really fun to watch. My son was watching it with me this morning, and he loves it too. And then I'm linking a video for Raspbian X, which I've seen a lot of distributions for Raspbian over the last week or so, which are made to look like Windows, either Windows XP. There was one for Windows 2000, and then I think this one it kind of looked like XP or maybe 10, I'm not sure. But the big thing about it was the x86 emulation on the Pi. And he was running Steam and Steam games during the video. I mean, not like AAA titles or anything, but it was just a really cool video on that all getting set up. And he does explain during the video that Raspbian X is still very beta, so some things aren't going to work, but it does look cool, and it does look like something that I would want to try out.
Nice. I wonder what the performance hit is for that, because if you're doing emulation, then yeah, it's like virtualization. You're going to run into some issues, but that is really cool.
And he did specifically mention that the Pi 4 is really the only one with enough power to be able to run this.
I still have that Raspberry Pi 4 in the cart. I never pressed go on it.
Oh, the Canakit?
Yeah. I really need to. Yeah, especially this. I could test
especially
this
at that
out.
price that you were talking about. It was like $66, wasn't it?
Yeah, that came with the cable, and it came with a case, and it was
and the Pi 4 4GB.
Yeah.
And consider that the Pi 4 4GB is normally $55, which means you're getting the rest of that kit for like $10.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, fine. After the show, I'll go get it.
No, during the show.
We will twist your arm, Leo.
Yeah, okay. All right. So if the next couple of shows I don't talk about Raspberry Pi, you can I don't know what you can do to me over the internet, but yeah, you do whatever that's going to be.
Well, you're not that long a drive.
That's true. Hey, bring tacos.
I will.
You might want to wait to pick them up until you're almost there.
Maybe.
True. Well,
cold tacos are not much fun.
Tacos and Corona. How's that sound?
Ooh, all right. Wait, which Corona?
The bottle.
Oh no,
Corona.
you'll catch the coronavirus.
Ah.
But you have to have the limes.
Okay, I can make that happen. All right. Well, that'll do it for our check this out. I will make a note. Last recording, we were very front heavy. We had and I think it was because everybody was on the show and we had a lot of wanderings and we kind of back and forth about the news or whatever. This one is going to be the opposite. We are going to be back heavy. So, yeah. Interesting. That just noted. Just thought about it.
Last time we were all kind of concerned about the topic and not being able to have enough content specifically for the innards. So everybody tried to bulk up the the wanderings, and then we ended up talking a long time on the innards anyway.
Yeah,
so
I'm pretty sure that was a 3-hour show.
Yeah, there wasn't a strategy where I'm concerned. I just talked a lot.
Well, we're just over 2 hours now. Maybe we don't split the show this time.
Ooh. All right, so since that's it for our check this out, we got one announcement, which is our next episode will be 2 p.m. Central U.S. time, 7 p.m. UTC on May 17th, 2020. So, Joe, where can we find more of you?
Oh, you can catch me on a couple other podcasts. I'm on the Linux Link Tech Show, and you can find that at www.tlts.org. I'm also on the Linux Lugcast, which is at www.linuxlugcast.com, and we just recorded this last Friday. You can find me on MeWe, or you can send me an email directly, jb@mintcast.org. If you want to send me some hardware, let me know. I have had 2 listeners send me hardware so far, and I am working on their projects. And I will get back to the show on that. Bo? Oh, he's not here today. Bo, you can find him at undercastnetwork.com, also Electric City Nerds, ecnradio.com.
And Moss, more you?
You can find me at Triad Bardic College, Peaceful Hippo. I have other blogs at linuxquestions.org since 2006, I think, and dreamwith.org. I'm on MeWe. My music's on Bandcamp and on library lbry.tv as @mossmusic. Moss at mintcast.org, distrohoppersdigest@gmail.com, and I have a sponsors linked in the show notes. One sponsor, yay!
Yay! And Tony Hughes isn't here either, but you can get him at HPR, host ID 338. He blogs occasionally at tony-hughes.blogspot.com. You can get him on Twitter at TonyH1212, distrahoppersdigest@gmail.com, or th@mintcast.org. Tony Watts, what about you?
You can catch me at tw@mintcast.org. And music stuff, you can find my band Echoes of Savages content on pretty much anything, YouTube, Spotify, whatever you're fancy. And solo stuff at facebook.com/TonyWattsMusic.
Nice. And Josh isn't here either, but Josh at mintcast.org, Josh at edublogs.org, Bitcast, the new show that he's heading up, and at all_about_code on Twitter. For me, leochavez.org and at Leo Chavez on Twitter. And you can get your 5-minute news digest at Full Circle Weekly News. But before we leave, we want to make sure to acknowledge some of the people who make mintCast possible. Hobstar for his work on the new logo. Josh for all his work on the website. Hacker Public Radio for the Mumble server we use as a backup. Bitemark Hosting for hosting mintcast.org and our Mumble server. Archive.org for hosting our audio files, and of course, the Linux Mint development team for the fine distro we love to talk about. Thanks, Clem.
Thanks, Clem.
And Co. And we're out.
Woohoo!
Yay!
All right,
Another
stop
one
the
down.
recording.
Another one in the books.
That's it.
Yeah, technically this is a shorter show.
Yeah, it is. Actually, you know, what's funny is that this show is actually the length of the show like it's supposed to be. This is it.
Right. This is
It's still
when we should
13
normally.
pages.
Yeah. Moss, I blame you and Joe. You guys write a lot.
It's my fault.
I
I'm
write very
shutting off
little.
my audacity.
All right. I write very little, and you guys write very lot.
And you talk a lot, and
I
we
do.
talk a little.
See, and I think
I'm somewhere in the middle on the talking a lot bit.
Yeah, I think that's why. I think because I write so little that I just ramble. So
That's kind of the approach I take too. It's kind of an outline, and then I just jabber.
Dale says no 24-hour marathon shows. You know, maybe one of these days.
Ooh, a challenge.
I'm getting kind of old for that 24-hour bit.
Well, there's enough of us though that people could like go away and come back. We could make that work.
Oh, you know,
like
that's
the
true.
New Year's show for HPR.
Something.
Yeah, but I think
That's
we'd have to use
true.
the HPR's mumble for that.
You know,
Yeah. To be clear, it's a terrible idea. I'm just saying it's
Oh,
possible.
it is. It's
Yeah.
a really horrible idea.
you know, I think once we fully flesh out what we're going to be doing with this whole community thing, bringing more people on and all that kind of thing, we might actually be able to do it a la HPR.
Yeah.
Just sign people up. You take an hour, you take an hour, you take an hour. You guys both take an hour.
Honestly, we should make Tony go through the whole process of submitting to HPR. I don't think it's difficult or anything. It's just, I don't know how to do it, so.
I think Tony has done that. He even did like a bread show or something. Or it was a cooking show of some kind.
Well, in the wrap up, he has his own host ID.
Yeah.
And I know he's done shows. I've listened to a couple of his shows on HPR. Oh, Londoner wants a mintcast virtual log. I like that idea too.
Yeah, that's exactly what
yeah.
I'm talking about.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Definitely. So wait, so Londoner, you coming on?
Londoner, you got the mic ready to go?
That's the way that works. You have the idea, you got to be part of it.
A log is a
Scott and Dale so
Linux
far.
users group And now generally with a lug, you get a whole bunch of Linux users together or people that are curious about Linux, and we get them all together in the same place at the same time, and the seasoned users get to help out the new users, and you get to discuss the various things you've been working on. And now instead of a normal lug, we would be doing a virtual lug, much like they said, like Big Daddy Linux does.
You started talking about Londoner getting a microphone, and he panicked and left the IRC.
He's gone.
Oh, he's on the Telegram, so he's still talking there.
Yeah, he's talking to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I created a folder and I uploaded my audio.
Thank you, sir. I am exporting my flax right now.
Ditto.
Yeah, I'm not uploading yet. I got to go to Drive.
How dare you?
I've got to get the IRC room updated.
I was chatting.
Yeah, take ask what a virtual lug was, and Joe gave it an awesome answer, but let me give a secondary answer. It's basically the mintCast. That's what we do, man. We just come on here and we lug it up.
Yep. Yeah, I think by loose definition, that's Linux users getting together and talking about and/or doing stuff.
You got
just
some
hanging out
Pie.
with fellow nerds. And what I love best about a lug is I can sit down and start talking about Linux, and people don't look at me like I've grown a second head.
Yeah, their eyes don't glaze over. Or they
Right.
might. They might still.
All the words that come out of my mouth, they understand that that's actually English.
Yeah, so I love the emails from John Wallace because they're just so technical, right? And it just gets me to like flex that. But I imagine when I start talking about sysctl, people's eyes glaze over still. So lug or not.
Yeah, I'm one of the less technical people in this group, and I still, there aren't people in quote normal life that I can talk to about this stuff. They just look at me blank.
We're your escape.
Yeah.
Got to let off that steam somehow, and 2 to 3 hours every other Sunday is a good place to go do that.
Word.
Yeah, I am missing my local lug, though.
Yeah, I don't think you're less technical than me, Tony.
I don't think a whole ton more either, Moss. We
have different areas.
Short.
Yeah, we have different areas.
Well, part of the reason I started podcasting was because I moved from El Paso, where all my tech friends were, all the people I went to college with and hung out with on a regular basis, came out here to, Dallas, knew no one, and needed people to talk tech with.
I love that going from El Paso to anywhere else in Texas is like basically going halfway around the world. It's about that long of a drive.
It is. And 800 or 900 miles to anywhere.
Yeah. So Londoner says, I would definitely be interested, but would have to buy some audio hardware first. Unfortunately, under our lockdown, we can't buy any tech items as they are considered non-essential.
Blah, blah, blah.
So,
Londoner, what's your location?
Joe's going to put you something
Africa.
in the mail.
That is an extra long mail. But, so that sounds to me like a yes, just not right now. So
yeah, we can figure that out. The audio doesn't have to be perfect. We've had people come on with their mobile phones, and we made it work. I mean, it may not be,
Yeah, when Oliver started out with us, Oliver was kind of on his phone or something, and we made it work.
Hey, 11 hours from El Paso to Dallas, that's still a long drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I need Oliver to come back on, so I'm going to talk some trash about his audio. But he got that new audio set up, so we need to hear it. And I feel like if I talk trash about his audio before, he'll be compelled to come back on the show so he can prove that his audio has improved.
Well, if nothing else, Tony Hughes probably has an extra headset that he can send him. And USB DACs, you can buy like $1 for $1.
Well, I don't know. It costs a whole lot to ship anything from anywhere to South Africa.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, look. Can I? Well, no, he said that they were all locked down. So, yeah. Well, if I have to, man, I'll get some Bitcoin and spend some money over there and just have them like walk it to you or something like that. I don't know how that works, but we'll make it work, man.
Well, Dale, when it's your job to drive that far every day, then that's one thing. But it's mostly my job to sit my butt in front of a computer. Exactly.
Saying something somewhere. I'm not seeing that. I'm not on Telegram.
Yeah, it's on Telegram.
Well, I think the show notes are ready.
Awesome.
So I guess I'm going to get out of here.
I uploaded my audio.
Yeah, I didn't upload it. I was exporting it. I didn't upload it yet because I didn't want to lose any of you guys in my oh, something I got to put in the wanderings. I'll talk about it next time though. Cuz I'll have it done by next time. I need another access point back here because Wi-Fi I'm sitting at like 60% or less on signal strength here. So, yeah, I need
a booster?
Well, so I had
Power line
for a long time.
A line, yeah, wire it.
Well, I'm gonna wire it. Here's the deal. I'm just gonna wire another access point back here in the room that I'm using.
Do it.
Oh yeah, right.
Do it.
Well, it'll still be faster to send a whole Ethernet cable back there.
And then come to my
I'm
house.
do this to the roof.
Come to my house, and you can do all my drops for me.
Ooh. Listen, just because I can do it.
Look, I got all the cable. I got all the cable you could ever need. You can even take the extra home.
Let me just tell you this. I've had cable in my closet.
I got boxes and boxes of Cat 5e.
Ooh, I've had this cable that I've got right now for over a year, and I've only done 2 drops in my house. If that tells you how motivated I am to do drops.
I got a 2-story house and an attic, and I can't. Yeah, the drops from because I would want to put the router in the attic. Probably just a network switch in the attic, and then run everything else down. But going through 2 floors,
yeah.
I know that I'm only like 8 feet away from my modem, but when I'm running Ethernet, well, it might be 10 or 12 feet, but when I'm running Ethernet, it's about 8 times faster than when I'm running Wi-Fi, and that can make a difference.
Yeah, it really can. It really can. So I think what I'm going to do is I had a second Unify access point. It's the APAC Lite, and it's just been sitting in the closet. I haven't used it because my AP does so well, but when I close all the doors, the signal dies a little bit. So what I think I'm going to do is in this room, just leave it up in the ceiling because I don't have another bracket for it, so I can't actually mount it on the ceiling correctly. So I think I'm just going to leave it on top and just see how good that gets.
Yeah, leave it hidden.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. Been a great show. Short one,
man.
But a great show.
This is not short. It was normal.
And Powerline is still very unstable.
For the last 6 months, this is a short show.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right, guys. See you later.
Have a good one.
Leo, I still need to wrangle you into at least answering on that. We need to have a meeting for distro hoppers before the show.
Oh yeah, I meant to actually. I'm gonna email you guys the notes that I've been working on because I've just had them local. I hate having Firefox open or any browser open when I'm just typing, so I keep them all local. I'm just gonna paste them into the doc or just email them to you, however you guys prefer.
Well, it'd be easier for you to do it than for us, but if we gotta, we gotta.
Yeah, for sure. And if you were saying Wednesday.
Yeah, if you're available 11 or noon on Wednesday.
I can probably get that done noon your time. So
yeah,
11
your time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can probably do an 11. I'll write that in Discord too, just so I can set it up.
Just make sure the notes are updated and we got something to talk about.
Cool.
All right, guys. See ya.
Later.
See you, man.
So yeah. This is like a whole nother show after the show.
Kind of.
Yeah, we should have kept recording.
I know,
It's a
right?
split.
So I want to know how to pronounce the thing that Londoner's saying. Because it's an Afrikaans saying. How do you even say that?
No clue.
Boer, mak en plan. I butchered it. I know I butchered it. I can't wait to hear how badly I butchered it, though. Like, I'm going to put it in Google Translate, and I'm going to let Google tell me how to do it.
I'm not in too different about than Tony Hughes. My back has been killing me. Sitting in this chair was a bit of a task, but 3 beers helps.
Oh, yeah.
I bet it does.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope because I think we're gonna record on Sunday, and I've got Rocco from Biddle asked me to do one of those spotlights or whatever, where he just kind of interviews you or whatever. And
Oh, cool. Yeah.
he said, "Bring whatever drink you want." And I'm like, "All right." So, yeah. And then I'm gonna do the Distro Hoppers Digest thing a little bit earlier in the day. So I don't know. I might already be plastered by the time I get to Rocco. I hope not.
Nah, you'll be all right. Got to bring something interesting though if you're going to talk about what you're drinking on the air. Get something from your local brew house.
Yeah, that's what I do. There's this place called Pappy Slocum's, and they do growlers and 6-packs. So they didn't have any 6-packs yesterday, so I just got a gallon of beer.
That's great. I love that.
Know.
A lot of the local restaurants that normally would have a good draft selection are doing takeout growlers now.
That's so cool, man. It's the only thing that I do not like about the growlers. Don't get me wrong, I love the growlers. Is when you pop it open, you got to finish it.
You really do, like within 24 hours.
Yeah, it'll go flat. So yeah. So
Dale, I hate to say this, but podcasting is always BYOB.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. The only reason that I don't, at least for this show, is mostly because I got work to do after most of the time. Yeah. Actually, this coming semester, I'm going to be a whole lot less inundated with stuff because we moved a lot of stuff online and all of my classes were built prior. So not much except for a little shift here and there. So I might, this next 4 months, I might come a little loaded.
This one, like, because it's in the middle of the afternoon, I usually feel like coffee at the beginning of it more than anything else, and beer comes after most of the time. But I was not real comfortable, man. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have a beer when we start and more as we're talking, and maybe that'll be better.
I can't mix the coffee with the beer.
Yeah, no, I can't do that either.
It always goes right into a migraine.
Ooh.
I can go from one to the next pretty quick.
No, I can't mix my uppers and my downers. I got to keep my vices separate.
You're not a Jägerbomb guy.
No.
Yeah, usually that's what it is for me. Coffee before noon and beer after noon.
Oh, what was that nasty beer that came out like a decade ago that was like an energy drink mixed with beer?
Ew.
Don't know.
Oh, Four Locos?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That wasn't beer. That was some other monstrosity.
Yeah.
But Dale says BYOB podcasting is a big thing in Texas. I think beer is just a big thing in Texas.
Accurate. Yeah.
Man, lots of everywhere. Like even in towns as small as ours, I think we have 3 or 4 different craft brew places. And a mead shop just opened up. I don't know what's up with that. That's
mead.
Cool.
Get
mead.
out of here. That's amazing.
One of my buddies just opened up a meadery.
Yeah, and
so
it said
cool.
meadery. Just what a weird name. But yeah, it was like raspberry this and lavender that, and I'm like, huh, okay.
Actually, I should
convinced me.
I should post his stuff and check this out and get him some online sales or something.
Heck yeah.
Why not?
But yeah, I don't know.
He's over in Arlington.
It probably started about 10 years ago, but I started. Red Stripe was the first one that I ever drank that was like, well, this doesn't taste like Coors Light. And yeah, ever since then, I started with this whole habit of just...
I'm busy. Go away, little girl.
walking through the aisle and being like, well, that one looks cool. I'll try that
17 years old and still a midget. With your pink hair.
Hey, pink hair's cool.
Hey, if she really starts kicking your ass good, make sure you don't mute, okay?
Okay. But no, I can still pick her up one-handed, so she can give it a try if she wants to.
All right. I guess that's about it. I'm going to go and go kill off that live stream. Thank you guys for hanging out. I think our trusty few are still listening. I love it. So anyhow, I will go and kill that. Thanks again, guys, for listening.
See y'all.
Bye.
Later, everybody. Thank you, Dale.